Okay, we're live. Welcome, everybody. Here we are live. Leonard O'Neill and Miguel Pena. We're coming to you live from Skull Island this week, right? That was right. We decided to. Aaron was really hot into this. He'll be here a little bit later. He can't be here right now. He's actually he's babysitting somebody, so he said I'll get on when I can. So I sent him the link, and so we're calling it Skull Island because he kind of got the idea that if we pirate radio and trying to get the three of us, Aaron Fowler, Miguel Pena, and myself, on doing a show. And he called the chat that he put together Skull Island. I thought it was great. So I said, I love that, right? So I named, and we haven't put you in the chat yet. We'll have to put you in the chat. So I decided to name today's show Skull Island. So and he'll be laughing when he finally sees that and comes in. So welcome to everybody that's out there. Share this out, share this out, share this out. And Miguel and I are on today. I know I have the Orion Rising banner still up, but when we do this show, we're going to have our own banner. But when the three of us got to get together and get a brainchild together and decide what our banner wants to look like for our Wednesday show. So it's not Orion Rising every week because in truth, Orion Rising is my podcast, right? And it'd be kind of stupid for me to have those guys join in and try to do a three-way thing to where it's our show and we're calling it my show. That would be stupid and selfish of me, right? So we're going to call it.
We're guests on your show, Leo. It's your world.
It's your world with Neil Cavuto. What? It's right. It's Water's world, and then I have my pirate. My
there you go.
My world Viking clan shirt that actually says right there. It actually says Grimfrost in Viking runes, right there.
You read those runes, don't you?
What's that?
You read those runes, don't you?
Yeah. I'm actually fluent. That's how I know. That's actually not Elder Futhark. That's 21st century. European, it's Swedish Futhark right now, but I can still understand it. They just added the Y and the Z in there, right? And they changed a couple of the letters, not too crazily. But yeah, that's literally says, Grimfrost. That's an actual G. And then the other one, the G was down in the center instead of at the top. The top was a P in Elder Futhark. Having that point there, it was in the middle, and that was the G originally. Or the G was a different symbol that kind of almost looked like our backwards G in language. But yeah, I taught myself how to speak or how to interpret Futhark, and the only reason the only reason they call it Futhark is when they first discovered the Viking language, the letters actually spelled out Futhark, Futhark or ARC. So they called it Futhark. They don't know what that word actually meant. It was probably a Swedish word or a Norwegian word. So at the time they didn't know what the word meant. But that was the very first word they found because it looked like the letter F. It looked like the letter U, but it was upside down. And it looked like a T, which it turned out was the word they found because it looked like the letter F. It looked like I'm hearing you upside down. And I'm hearing feedback from your microphone, I think, or from your speakers. That's weird.
It's from mine. I apologize.
No, that's all right. So anyway, so then they realized eventually that the word was Futhark, but they didn't know what that word meant. So they called it Futhark. See, there's Aaron. What's up, Aaron? Aaron's out there. Yeah, he said he'll hop on, but he can't. Look, he's got the pirate flag there
that's what I was trying to get in there because I saw that Aaron shared us out over on the group chat as well. I was trying to pick up that link, and that's when I got three different windows that opened up and got feedback.
So you were going through the same thing, technical crap I was going through just before we went on air, huh? Right. So yeah, in here with this camera, you can see my Santa beard a lot better than you can with that close-up camera, right? I'm running it from my phone. For those of you who are out there, my Wi-Fi is tripping for my computer again, so I couldn't get it to pick up the high-speed internet, so I'm on my phone. Right, so my phone will work on 5G or whatever, so I don't care. I just got my phone plugged in, ready to go. Okay, so guys, share this out. What we're going to be talking about today is, welcome again from Skull Island, right? Our pirate brother, Aaron, will be here when he can hop on. He's there now in the chat to talk to people. Those of you who are on Facebook, you guys can see him in the chat there. Those of you who are on YouTube, you won't be able to see Aaron in the chat because you're on the YouTube chat. But he is in there, and if he says anything that you guys need to know about, we'll tell you about it. So welcome to Skull Island. This was the brainchild of Aaron. He called our chat that he made for our group Skull Island, and I kind of ran with it. And we're going to talk about different things around the world and stuff. We're not going to be talking about the same stuff, but we might be. And Miguel had already segued in with the show last night, and I wanted to do the same thing today, talking about current affairs and this Omicron and all of this other corona scare
seedy bullshit.
Yeah, all this seedy bullshit that's going on. So So let's talk about that. Omicron, they've now found one case that they haven't confirmed here in California today. They said that they did testing and it's probable to be Omicron. So they don't know that it is. But the CDC and everybody says chances are it's already here. But guys, what you need to understand is that the truth is, here's a question. Show of hands, boys and girls. How many variants currently are there of coronavirus on the planet? There is currently 41 right now, according to with Omicron or Omicron, depending on how you say it.
Okay, see,
go ahead.
That's the whole thing too. That name, because they jumped over 2 Greek letters in order to get there, and because
they took 15. Why did they take the 15th letter of the Greek alphabet?
They skipped over she because they didn't want a she variant.
They didn't want a she variant. I get that.
That's the original anyway.
Right. So they went right. So they went to Omicron, which is the 15th letter of the Greek alphabet, and it's also the 15th number in the Greek, or like the Hebrew is a number in a word. Omicron means 15. So and it's the 15th letter of the alphabet. So I'm not quite sure if there's any correlation there. Why they would do that?
Jacob Israel went down some rabbit holes looking at Omicron and some others that God, I watched so many hours of videos. It's just insane. But yeah, there's lots of things about the Omicron going on that are questionable. There's also some drops, 17 drops that mentioned the fact that they skipped over them and that they are code for military operations. So
that might be why, right?
There should be boom weeks going on, but well, then again, we got Maxwell House going on, so yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah. So much stuff coming out, and we don't know how much of it is real. We know that yesterday we found out the judge might be compromised. We already know that the prosecutor is compromised because that little bitty is her dad was a problem. I guess it's just genetic. Treason is genetic.
Right, just genetic, right? So see what Aaron said there. He's going to make some graphics. He has a graphic program. He's going to make some graphics for our Piratecast, is what we're going to be calling it. And yeah, so to Julie, to answer your question, I agree with you that when they were talking about they had to sequence the genome today, I'll put that back up. And Julie had said, how is it possible? Right? How are they isolating the test so quickly? That makes no sense.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, they can't. They're not.
It's all Goebbels. Joseph Goebbels said it. You tell a lie, a big enough lie, you tell it's long enough, and you stick to it, people will believe you. Nobody else is going after those rabbit holes. Nobody else is questioning. Yeah. Oh, but is this? How do we know that is the variant? No, it's just the next one they put in there to make everybody go nuts. And this one's supposed to be affecting the kids, which coincides with the fact that they want to make sure that from 5 to 11-year-olds get it. So, I mean, it's not just one generational genocide. They're trying to eliminate multiple generations. And it's about time this shit ended. But it's not going to end until we end it. And the way that we end it is by not complying, by not putting it on, by not, obeying their bullshit, and more than anything, don't be Australia.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that sucks that we have to say it like that, but don't be Australian. Don't lay down. Don't take it. Yeah.
They had no choice because they gave up their defenses years ago.
Yeah.
And that's why the second is so important. Because like it or not, when the government fears its people, you have freedom.
Yep.
When the people fear the government, you have tyranny. And that is what we're seeing in 90% of the planet.
Well, the good thing is Black Friday, they were already talking about Omicron. And on Black Friday, this Black Friday, last Friday, was the highest gun sales in the history of any one-day sale in America, because they're talking defund the police, letting people out, and then all of a sudden, oh no, new variant, lockdowns, and Americans went out and bought guns. They said that it was 50,000 background checks that the FBI dealt with.
It's incredible how people go out and buy guns when there's a Democrat in the office.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Isn't that weird how the majority of guns, or as soon as they start talking about taking our guns away, and here's the weird thing too.
I'm going to get my 3 before.
Well, don't think about this. When Trump was in office, we had a mass shooting maybe once a month, if that.
Wait, no, we didn't. No, we didn't.
In fact, we had like 3 his whole entire time, right?
We didn't have all of that shit. Why? Because he wasn't running all that false flag bullshit to try and program people, because he was about giving the government back to the people.
Right. And then as soon as we get the Democrats in, we just had a shooting yesterday in Michigan.
No, that after some asshat, tries to drive his car. No, actually not tries to, drives his car, zigzags, hitting as many people as possible. And but it's just an accident. You got to feel bad for the guy, because he was just running from a knife fight. He was scared, didn't know what to do. Poor guy. Yeah,
right. Mm-hmm. So you see what Reese says down there and down under in Australia, they've cut us off from primer and powder. Mm-hmm. That's in our Constitution, brother. They can't do that to America. It's in the Constitution. We have the right to make. Yeah, we have the right to make a flintlock. If nothing else, we can't make machine guns, but we can make gunpowder. We can make our own ammunition. We can make all that. But
Miguel's you can't make gunpowder, because when you get the fertilizer and things together for it, they will raid your house.
Yeah, right. Especially if you have too much for it. Yeah, agreed. So the only way you can actually do that and not is to like put it out and make your own mulch and shit in your backyard so they don't notice it. That's the only way you can do that. You can get your glycerin from there. You can get the nitro from there.
Go to a farm and grab all kinds of cow patties.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's the best. That's your best buddy. And then
you can actually, as you're picking up the cow patties, you might find something underneath them that you'll enjoy as well.
Right. You never know, right? And then it's easy to make charcoal. Charcoal, you got to have
purple
wood.
ring around it.
Yeah, purple ring around it. Yeah. Well, to make charcoal, you just need to have wood and a crucible. So you can make that with a 5-gallon paint, or less, a gallon paint tin, right, with a lid and a handle on it. That's all you need. And then just chop up wood and stick it in there, and then put holes in the top of it, and then make a fire pit, set it on that, and then let it burn until the fire comes out the top. And when that stops, put a hot rag on it, pull it off and set it down, leave it set. When it's done, you open it up, that's charcoal inside. You take that charcoal, you mix it with the nitro, you mix it with the glycerin, because if you don't do that right, you can make dynamite. But if you're trying to make gunpowder, you cut out the nitro and keep the glycerin until afterwards, and then you tumble it and roll it, and when you're done, you have gunpowder. You add the glycerin back in at the right time, and you roll it again, you tumble it.
I never knew any of that. You got to set up some survival video. We got to do some survival videos.
I wrote a book. I wrote a book about it. I'll have to grab it. It's over here. I wrote a book it's called How to Get Out of Debt, Surviving in the 21st Century. And in my book, I think it's in there, I explained to you how to make gunpowder. Oh, no, I did. I left that stuff out because I didn't want to be liable for explaining that.
You can get in trouble for doing that in videos.
Yeah. As I had the biofuel, I have a little red book that I write everything down in. I have the formula to make alcohol. I have the formula to make biofuel. I have the formula to make soap. I have the formula to make a crucible and gunpowder. I have the formula in there to make a flintlock, the whole nines.
Freaking awesome. I just have dreams. I'm just words. I have that plan of what to do over there, and then I've already told you about that one.
Right.
I got the idea of putting the chickens over the fish pond. That was your idea. So
yeah, we were talking about that. That works.
Thank you for that one. Absolutely.
Yeah, there was a guy that set that up in Arizona, and I was going to do the same thing where he had the chicken coop hovering over the water. He had a pool, and he drained the pool down about halfway, had tilapia in there, and had the chicken coop up top, and the chicken would poop into the water, and the tilapia would eat you can do that with catfish. Catfish or bottom graders, they'll eat the poop, right? And then you feed the chickens duckweed, and then that's really, really good. You can eat that as a salad yourself, and the fish will eat it as well. So you can take some of it, put it on the water, let the fish eat it, and then they'll eat the poop, and it's super grow food for them. And tilapia breed every couple of days. They drop some fish, right? Okay. They breed like rabbits. That's why tilapia is a great sustainable source.
That was one of the things they were asking me about. How are you going to sustain, 2 or 3 families on, just fish? Do you have enough fish? Well, it depends. Yeah, and that's one of the things. If you get enough in there and they start growing, and eggs.
And then you filter the water through an ecosystem that grows your produce.
Exactly. That was the ultimate objective for me.
My buddy Paul did that in Pittsburgh, California, but you can't do tilapia there, so he used bass, and he had freshwater bass in there.
Bass works.
Yeah,
bass will work, definitely.
Yeah, anything that breeds fast is what you want, so it's sustainable, so you can have it. And then if you have to, you can have a tank.
Well, like rabbits.
You need to have a tank. What's that?
They say that, rabbits, because they breed fast and everything else, but they say that rabbits are a pain in the ass to keep and take care of.
Not really. When I was growing up, we had a cage, not a cage, but we had a row of cages. There was 3, 6, 9, 12, 14, 16 cages. And we had rabbits in there, and you just got to clean up their poop. Just like you do, you have to pick shit with the chickens. You got to pick shit with the rabbits, feed them all the time, make sure they have water all the time. And if you use chicken coop, again, you don't have to worry about them peeing on the floor or pooping on the floor. It falls through to the bottom. That's what we did. And then we would just have to sweep it out.
Would the tilapia actually need too much sunlight? Because all those structures on top of the pond would make it kind of dark down there.
Not if you do it the way he did it. And see, we didn't get into that detail. It's a good thing you said that. What he did was he had most of the chicken coop right on the edge. So most of the water had nothing but sunlight on it. And the chicken coop kind of wrapped around the side and on the edge from the deep end up like this, so that it only covered about maybe a third or a quarter of the water itself. So the chicken coop, instead of being big, was long.
That works. That works. Yeah. And I'm thinking, well, see, the chicken poop that just sticks. That just goes. It's all liquidy and shit, and it just sticks. But the ones for the rabbits, those can actually roll. So I was thinking about, maybe a slide to where they're not over the water, but you're getting all that stuff getting into the water.
You can still do that, and have a poop and have a slide down into the water.
You can't slide for the chickens because that stuff just sticks.
That just goes. It'll just be there. Yeah,
it just sticks. It don't go nowhere.
Yeah,
I know about chickens.
Rabbits, they breed a lot like the tilapia. They taste better. It's not fish. Right? So it's different. But yeah, man, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. Those are things that 100 years ago nobody had a problem with and everybody knew about. Nobody knows about that shit nowadays. Nobody knows it. It's like, oh, what are you guys worried about? Because they want to eliminate the cows. We just go down to the supermarket and we get them there. It's like, okay, where the fuck do you think their meat comes from? They have no clue.
Right. Ginger, welcome. Sorry, Ginger said, I'm so happy to join, picked you up on. So she was watching Stephen and Evan Strong and saw me on their show, because I just was on their show last week and the week before. I just did we did a conference, and I was on their conference on Saturday. And if you watch the conference, Ginger, on Saturday, I was having problems with my internet as well. So I filmed it and then we put it up, so I wasn't live, but I am up on the internet. Yeah, my internet's a pain, and it's just because this computer is old, and for some reason it doesn't pick up the high-speed Wi-Fi easily. All my other devices do. My phone right now is on it.
But I thought you were talking about it was also the flights for.
And we have the military bases. Yeah, I have 2 military bases and 2 international airports, literally within 5 miles of me, and they're all to the south and the west. Nothing's to the east, and that's where they all fly out, north or east. When they're going south, they fly over me and turn and go over the ocean and head down to LA, or they turn and go inland because they're going to go to Nevada or whatever. So they don't. So most of them, they're constantly over me, and then my Wi-Fi shuts down for half a second. It did it a minute ago. While we were here, I went to 5G, and then I came back. That was literally the Wi-Fi dropped. I went to 5G, the Wi-Fi came up, and then it went back to being on the Wi-Fi.
That's the benefit on your phone versus your computer.
Yeah,
and
my phone's brand new. It's a year old. And it's not the $1,000 phone, but the $650 phone. So it's the second best phone you could get if it's not an Apple phone, right? Okay. It was $650, but I got for $158 with tax because of some promotion at the time, because they really wanted me to buy the phone.
Mine was about $200, $220.
Yeah. See.
Why? Because I don't want to spend a fucking fortune on the phone. And
I wasn't going to buy. I wouldn't have bought this unless it was only for $150. Because I don't want to be spending a lot of money on a phone either.
But a couple of weeks after I got it,
you cracked it.
Cracked the damn thing.
That sucks.
It's been cracked. It was about a month ago.
What is that? It looks like the same one I have. What is that phone?
It's a Samsung.
Oh, it's a Samsung. I have the I have the LG K92.
I don't know. I don't trust LG too much.
This one works okay. It's the second one I had. I didn't like the first one. This one was the upgrade, and it seems to work okay. I agree. I like Samsung better. I agree with you. But that one's more expensive.
it's really bizarre that mental programming. It's the Nike shoes and the Levi's jeans and the Samsung cell phones. Just these little things that I get in my head to where these are quality brands that I trust. Yeah, okay, some of them are made with slave labor, others are made with slave labor, and others are probably also made with they're just too damn woke. Levi's actually was allowing for counseling for people that were upset about the Rittenhouse case. So all that shit bothers me. I mean, I love football, but I haven't been watching it for 2 years. Those bastards started kneeling.
Reading the chat over here, and the girls. First of all, I wanted to thank you guys, Ginger and Julie, that you guys went back and watched it. I hope it wasn't too confusing. And Ginger says, I'm gonna put it up on the screen. If you typed in the chat, Ginger, I'm assuming you don't care that the world hears it, so I'm gonna put that up there. She says, I'm a poster child for MK Ultra, paperclip, military father in England, 1952, just turned 75, and I'm getting awakened. Is there another way we can communicate? Yes, we will. You and I can communicate on Messenger. If you send me a friend's request on Facebook, we talk on Messenger. We can literally, if you want to or need to, we can communicate, with the phone or with video and talk. And I would love to talk to you because with your background, with the stuff you got going on, you might be somebody we might want to bring on as a guest to talk to us about. Right. Absolutely. So we will hit you up and get that. So thank you for watching that. And for those of you who remember when I was talking about the number 3, and I don't know if you guys saw that part. I don't remember how much of it was on air, because Stephen was talking about doing the solstice, and we're going to do the solstice this year, December 21st. And then there was the one more after that, and he said that they called for 3, and he didn't understand why just 3. And I explained it to him in their chat, so I didn't get to do it on air. I said I didn't get to continue on with the number 3. So really quickly, Miguel, I'm going to hit that so Ginger knows, and the people who watched the show paid for the conference. I was talking about the number 3 and talking about the number 3 is the 3rd chakra in the chain of chakras, and it's the yellow ray chakra. And the yellow ray chakra is the I do. The first chakra being the root is the red. That is I am. I think, therefore I am. And then the second chakra in your body is the orange, and that is the I feel chakra. And now the yellow ray chakra is the I do chakra. And why is that important? Because our sun, Sol, is a yellow ray sun, a yellow ray star, and we are on the 3rd planet from that star, the number 3 again, and the number 3 chakra is the yellow ray chakra. So our planet is in the 3rd chakra position from a yellow ray sun, which is the yellow ray chakra. So we here are more prone to I do. What does I do? I do means I create. So, and think about this, everybody here, you don't know how many times a day you say that, right? Do you take this lawfully wedded woman to be your wife? I do. Do you believe in God? I do. I do not. What do you think about Omicron? This is what I do think. We're all about I do. I'm doing something. We're constantly doing. Our whole reality is doing, and that's what's getting in our way is our own reality. So we are the number 3 energy in the 3, 6, and 9. We humans were born with the innate ability, the incorruptible ability of creation. Okay, so that was the gift that was given to us by Jesus. Was Jesus being, and Miguel and I talk about this all the time. I'm pointing the wrong way, Miguel, that way. Talk about this. Jesus is the 3 energy, but he's also the 1. He's the 12. You go 3, 6, 9, 12, right? So 3 us plus our intention, 3 plus 3 equals 6. The 6 energy being time, space, and nature. We then use our energy again, our intention with that energy, and that becomes the 9 energy. The 9 energy is the Higgs boson energy. It's the God energy, not the God particle, not God, but the God creation energy. We can tap into that because we have the power of creation, right? So here we are on the planet.
We are co-creators, right?
Yeah, and we're co-creators, all of us. And so to solidify that, why 3 times to the solstice? Why 3 times an activation? And so what I said was, it's the number 3. We are the number 3 to activate this planet, which is the 3rd planet from the yellow sun, the yellow chakra. We are the third planet from the yellow sun chakra. We are the humans that have the ability to create. We're co-creators. Therefore, we're the number 3, right? I'm looking at the other camera. For forgetting that I'm on this camera. I'm over here looking at the camera. So I apologize. I'm up now. All of a sudden, I'm like, you're on this camera. Don't look there. So we're the number 3. We use our energy. We become the number 6. We use our energy with the number 6. That becomes the energy of 9. 9 is the Taurus, the globe with the center circles, right? And it goes down to the 0 point. Through the 0 point, at the 0 point is the way to the Jesus or the God, and that is the 0 point. And when you go through the 0 point, you become, and you come out of that and you become the number 3 again, or the number 6 or the number 9, because you don't actually ascend to become the one in this place. But you can sense it, see it, and find your way to that place, but you can't join with that yet because we're too small on the scale. We need to then continue on into the red ray chakra at the very least, because the true creation comes from the heart. So we need to transcend the yellow ray and move into the red ray center so that we can then create with love. And once you do that, you're already moving up, and it won't take long before you're up into your higher self. But I didn't get to say that on air and say why 3 times on the solstice, because this is the third planet from the third ray sun.
You want to solidify the 3, the sacred 3, the sacred Trinity. And man, my back is killing me. Anyway, one of the I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, the Maslow pyramid. Because all those colors, remember I was talking about the colors before, and somebody mentioned, I think it was Peter actually, that mentioned that they reminded him of the colors of the chakra, and I was actually referencing the Maslow pyramid. Right. Because it was the hierarchy of motivational needs, right? So the higher up you get, the more motivation, actually a little bit less motivation, because you're not willing to do as much to get beyond. Once you're onto the social and building family and friends and everything else, then you'll do what you want, but you'll get to the green level, which is recognition and responsibility and respect. And once you get there, you're not really motivated to move on, because that's what most people consider as the top, right? So that's what Maslow is talking about. But there is a level above that to where if you can get to your blue level, or if you can identify what your blue level, what your raison d'être, your reason for being, your destiny, your personal destiny. If you can find that, then the motivation comes in, because the motivation is no longer external.
Right.
It ends up being an internal motivation. You do it because you want to.
Right. And that's what we need to do. That's what you need to do. I was just talking to someone today about that, how when we're younger and we haven't started healing yet, we're too busy blaming everybody else for what went wrong in our lives, right? And then eventually you have to realize, okay, that all of that happened, but the only way that I'm going to heal is I have to look within myself. And once you start doing that, you then acknowledge this was done to me, but you don't look at them and go, it's your fault, because it did happen to you. Now you're a survivor, but because that happened to you, you are where you are. So it's not their fault, really, and it's not your fault because you didn't ask for it. Nothing to do. Yeah.
But the thing about that is that it's not about external factors, because those are going to exist, and some people have been fucked up, seriously, for a very long time. And like Jesus said, evil lives within. It is up to us to release it. And so what happens, we can't be responsible for the things that people do to us, but we are responsible for how we react to it, how we act, what our actions are, what we do, our thought processes. Those are things that we can be responsible and are responsible for and will be held responsible for later on. Because in the end, Judgment Day isn't about what everybody else, it's about you and God and going, all right, son, what'd you do? Oh, but he was me. Well, what did you do? Oh, but no, what did you do? Oh, I did this, that, and the other. Yeah, okay. See?
Right. So Tony said to you, Miguel, he said, this is very interesting, Miguel. I experience a lack of motivation, but I'm wanting to find my truth and move upward. He was reacting to what you said.
I think Tony added me to Facebook recently, and I think he just subscribed over to my YouTube channel as well. So I think Tony was on my show yesterday. He was watching it yesterday. He was in the chat. I don't think I said hello to him during the chat because I have this real problem of not interacting much with the chat when it's mine. I'm OCD like that. I try and stay focused on the topic on the camera and that sort of thing, and not get sidetracked. But with live,
it's not easy to try and do both, and then the people in the audience will sidetrack you. So yeah.
Oh, and the fact that
and Ginger, thank you, by the way. Ginger said I PM'd you. Thank you. Go ahead.
Perfect. No, and I had 5 people on my stream yesterday. Also talking about mathematics and the threes and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was interesting coinkydink of all these things coming together. It's like we're on the same wavelength, Leo.
Yeah, right. Well, that's kind of what happens. And Errol says, I've had a lack of motivation for the past few years. And then this past month, I've been inspiringly motivated. And I owe that to the love of my life. Well, see, that's good, right? So whatever it was that triggered you to get you to actually start doing something is a good thing that you are now. And that means that it was happening when it was supposed to, just so you know, right? You weren't motivated before to do it because it wasn't your time. And then someone who is the love of your life and more than likely is a teacher or a mentor to you, for some reason you don't know that, something they said or did all of a sudden triggered you, and now you want to do that and you're doing it. It's because that was the plan that you guys set down. We do that with people where we're going to meet them in our lives at some point. Like Miguel and myself, we didn't know each other a year ago, but when we met, we immediately went, dude, we're supposed to work together. Right? We were like,
we still have to do your reality is holding you back.
Yes, we do. We need to get that hooked up, and I'm waiting for the universe to say. I keep looking at it, and I keep feeling it. I'm going, we're going to be doing this because that's important. That's when you go through the 0 point, or to get through the 0 point, you need to understand that your reality is holding you back. So we are going to be doing that, and I got to get you together with Peter and Peter, because Peter's itching. Both Peters are itching to get this thing hammered out, and we're already trying to set up speakers to come on to do that. So we'll have it set up for you guys probably for January. I don't think we'll be able to get it in December, only because we're doing this show. I'm doing another speaking engagement and maybe another one. And I know that Miguel's got 2 other shows he does. He's got one he's doing himself. And then he goes on Thursday, at least that. And he was just on a show last night. So we're all getting kind of busy for the holidays. But we'll get that out to you guys, and we'll get it probably in January around the full moon on January or the new moon. We'll have to see what the energy entails that coincides. And I think that was what our problem. We tried to do it on the full moon, and we're talking about the beginning, right? Getting to the end.
Do it on a new moon. Yeah, we can't get that mystical about things, Leo.
Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you need to.
You just got to do it.
Yeah, you just got to. Well, if you see, you got to remember that I also have that deep druid pagan background where everything was done with the energies of the universe at the times. So I agree with you. In a modern era, I did the same thing where I was like, none of that matters. We don't have to do any of that. We just do it.
I didn't say it doesn't matter, but it can't be an overarching and
well, right.
No,
we can't have to live by it. We can only do that one day a year. Yeah, we can only do that one day a year. Because
there was raining today, we couldn't do it. Well, fuck it, we'll have to do it next year.
Right? That's like we're 35, 365 days from now, we'll be there. Yeah. So you can't.
There you go. Tony said I wanted to comment on Tony's.
Are you talking about? Let's see, where he said, "Yeah, I can't remember," or the one he said after that.
He recently decided. There you go. Needs to detach from reality because this is the reality is getting in our way, right? But I don't know if it's a lack of. What happens is our perception of what reality is what is holding us back from doing what we are capable of doing because we do not perceive our deeper essence or reality. So our perception of that reality limits us. It says, no, I can't do that. No, I can't. Oh, our perception of it. Oh, but that person's bad and that other one doesn't get it. Our perception of that reality is what affects us because reality isn't what we think it necessarily is.
Right. It's all a concept. And we start working by that. It's a construct. So our perception of that conceptual reality is, or actually we construct the conceptual reality because of, like what Miguel's saying, because of us interpreting what we're seeing. And then by doing that, we're going, we're making something up. It's not really there. We don't know what reality is, like he just said, but we're now making it something like he said, oh, I can't do that because that guy's bad or this or that. And it's all a concept. And so that's what gets in our way, is that we externalize and we use this whole conceptual reality of the matrix, and we think that's reality. And the problem is that's when you're living here in this avatar and you're not paying attention to what's really going on. Right.
Yeah,
So
and the higher essence is what really drives it, because what we're creating here, because this is the physical tangential reality. This is sort of making it real, but the actions that we do here have reverberations on the higher levels. Okay, so our fourth, fifth, sixth dimensional selves are going to be reacting to the things that we do here in the three-dimensional realm, or four-dimensional realm if we consider time. But yeah.
And thank you, Norma. Welcome. She said everything is mystical, though.
Yeah.
Norma, welcome. So that's why we have to do that show, to really get to unpack all of what we're talking about right here, because it's only a little teeny tidbit of the conceptual reality and our reality for individuals, because it's all different for all of us. It's what we perceive. It's what we make of it. I talked about that on last Saturday, talking about aliens from another place. You have to understand, they're just like us. They just live over there.
Yeah.
Just over there.
Tony's comment also I wanted to give, because he ended up with a question mark. So he's like, focus inward more often and imagine the new. Yeah, exactly that. Because what we do in imagining is one of the things that I usually try and set up in my book is I've lived my life seeing what do I want to see for myself when I'm 65, 70, and I'm not creating new memories, right? The majority of my life is behind me. And what do I want to sit back? Because I remember my great-grandmother, 92 years old, sitting in a room, just looking at her old pictures, remembering the life that she had. It's sad. I don't necessarily want to get to that point, but what we do is some people get to that point and their life was a fucking mess because they never planned it out. So if we have a vision of what we want, we can build steps to get towards it. And that's where I wanted to get into Tony's question. You have to have it's like in sports. They tell you got to see the ball, you got to be the ball, right? Whenever you're tossing it up into the hoops or trying to catch a pass or shooting for a goal, you be the ball, you zone into it and you try and visualize what you're going to do. And so that mentally, when you're visualizing something, your mind doesn't realize what's right, what's real, or what's your imagination. Okay, so in those cases, your imagination will be deemed as real and you are practicing in a way. And so the more you visualize something, the more you see some little defects or errors or stepping stones that you can use to get towards that point. And so that's about visualizing your future so that you can see the path towards it. If you don't know where you want to go, you don't even know where to go, what next step you're going to take. But if you have, I want to go to that place. Okay, so for that, I need to, let's say I want to work for the central bank and control everybody's money flow. And I just want to be a pathetic piece of shit. So for that, I need to have a doctorate in economics. Okay, before the doctorate, I have to have a master's. All right, so a master's, and then I have to have, I have to graduate in finance and that sort of stuff. And so you take those steps back to what you need to do to get to that point that you want to reach. And when you actually draw that diagram and your destiny tree is what I usually call it, you know what steps you are going to be taking tomorrow, because you know the path that you're on and you know the direction you want to go. And so life ends up being a lot easier because you know what you're doing. Because you've already seen it in your mind's eye. And because you saw it, it became a potential. Because you focus on it, becomes a possibility. And then the more you focus on it, and the more you walk towards that, it becomes a probability. And eventually it becomes real.
Right?
Sorry, I'm done.
I know you started reading. Aaron says, and I love this exactly, so many don't even realize that they don't really know what to do next. And that's the truth of it. We go through, like I was just talking to my sister because she's a doer. My whole family are, but we're all type A, personality. So it's hard when we're all together because we're all dominant. We all talk over each other. And we're all loud and obnoxious. And it's just a
like
thing
last week.
Like last week with the three of us, yeah, right. Because all of us are type A personalities. So Aaron and Miguel and myself. So, but she's always in a hurry. She's always hurry, got to hurry this, or hurry up. We got to do this. We got to do that. So she calls me on the way to my house. She's like, you're up, right? I said, yeah. She says, okay. She says, get mom's pills in her. Make sure she has something to eat. Because when I get there, I want to get her in the shower and then I want to go. She's got to call me from 60 miles away because she has to make sure that I know what I'm doing with my own mother to be able to put food in her. Because
it's not that she doesn't trust that you know what you're doing. She's telling you about the timeline that she has in her mind. I don't want to waste any fucking time. I want to get her ass into the shower and get the fuck out because I got no time for this shit.
Hurry. Yeah. And so when she got here, I told my mom, I said, when she gets here and says, did you get her pills? I'm going to say, hell no. I sat here and told her jokes all morning. So my mom, even though she has Alzheimer's.
Smart ass. That's also the bad energy kicking in.
So, but my mother, even though she has Alzheimer's, she starts setting my mom up. My sister comes in. She's like, hi. And my mom says, should I hurry up and get in the shower? She was baiting my mom, dude. So that I would go, oh no, she doesn't have her pills. She was hoping she was going to ask the question, did you give her pills? Waiting for me to go, no, man, I've just been sitting here telling her jokes. So my mom could laugh. She was actually cognizant enough to try and bait my sister. My sister didn't know it. And I laughed. And then I explained it to her.
Shower now?
Yeah, and she laughed. It was hilarious, right? Ariel says if you're doing something with a partner, you both need to be on the same page and willing to go through the trials and tribulations. Not many come with your new journey together. Not always sunshine, right? Well, we talked about that too. A lot of times when we get older and we wake up when we get older, we're already with a partner, and a lot of times these days people are waking up in that, and now all of a sudden they're outgrowing the people around them, and it sucks when you have a partner who's not willing to do anything that you're doing and is not growing, and then people end up leaving their partner because this person doesn't want to have anything to do with that, and they're a hindrance to you. So you're right. Everybody needs to be on the same page, because if your partner doesn't want to,
if somebody's holding you back, it's not about life would be great if my videos are going to be great if I can do them with Leo, and once I get my videos started with Leo, I'm going to start to take off and I'm going to start to do things. Leo can help.
Right.
My channel is my responsibility. My life is my responsibility. I cannot put it in the hands of absolutely anybody. I can't say, I've got to be on Jacob's channel because without Jacob, I have nobody that watches me. Might be true, but I'm building my own and creating.
That's the whole thing, though. You got to build your own. Yeah, exactly, brother.
We are in charge of our own. We are responsible for our own reality, and we cannot put it on absolutely anybody else because. Yeah, we'll get it's nice to have help and growth and everything else, but in the end, it's you and the Father by yourself.
Yeah, that's why
he's going to be in there with you.
Right here, perfect segue to what you said. Denise says, I started looking inward when I realized I had a problem. When I went into AA, it opened up a whole new world. I've been looking inward and working on myself for the past 31 years, clearing my mind, opening up so many new windows, and it brought me to where I am today. That's exactly it. And it always takes something for you to hit that rock bottom, but nothing will ever change until you look within yourself and take responsibility for your own actions and what you're doing, and then want to heal no matter what it is. And that's what we were alluding to earlier about the reality getting in your own way, right?
Yeah. But speaking of his AA thing, I don't know. I might need to do a little AA and a reduction of habits as well.
See, I used to smoke and I quit that. I still drink. And when people say, are you an alcoholic? Yeah, just am. I've been a functioning alcoholic. I don't have a problem with that. I don't drink before 10 p.m. Even I don't drink like other people do when they go to barbecues or they go to a baseball game or some sporting event. People are drinking the whole time. I did that a couple of times. Didn't like it. You kind of miss the game because you're too busy laughing and being drunk. So I never did that. So I would drink at night. I go to bed. I get up. I go to work. Life was fine. It didn't interfere with I didn't drink too much to where I was sick or had a hangover or called in. Functioning drunk is what they call it, or functioning alcoholic is what they call it. We call it being Irish in my family because that's normal for the Irish people.
He was as well, and that was his excuse as well. But his wife went off the rails, man. She tried to keep up with him, and no, man, no way. She would lose it. So yeah, sometimes some people can handle it, some people can't, and that's a whole another thing.
Sorry, the cat was wanting out of the office. So Ariel says in the if the partner isn't willing to put in equal effort, then they need to end things and even more and stop leading the other person on. And I agree with that. It's just either that or respect the fact that you are let your partner go. They're the ones that are doing this. I need to respect the fact that I'm not where they are and not stop them and hinder them anyway. If you can get them to do that, then you don't have to leave them. But if they don't and they resent you or whatever, eventually you're going to have to leave. You're going to have to, because you can't keep that energy that's holding you back. Miguel said that earlier, and that's right. You can't have that energy holding you back because it will just hinder you. So if they're hindering you, you have to make a change. If they're not, they're just saying, hey, do your thing. I love you, but I don't agree with that, but I'm still here for you. And they're understanding and they're willing to work with you. Then you might be able to make that work, as long as they're not in some way, trying to stop you from doing it or telling you that it's wrong what you're doing. If they love you and they support you 100%, then it should still be okay. And eventually, maybe that's not what they're here to do this time. But I agree, right? I'm leaving my second marriage because of the same thing, not being compatible, where I thought that we were and that I'm not. My first wife was like, okay, you're way above my pay grade, and I just can't deal with the fact that you just can't, you don't want to just stop and smell the roses and just live. And I'm like, I have a mission to do here. If I just stop and smell the roses and everybody like me, we stay stuck. We've been stuck for over 150,000 years. We're running out of time here.
We are at the end. This is the Great Awakening. When
I was talking to her today, I was talking about what I was talking to someone about, and she said, that is above my pay grade, and I don't want to know about it. Yeah. Right? It's like, I know that that would scare the hell out of me, and that's why we're not together, because I would be curious, and every time you tell me, it freaks me out, and I don't want to be a part of that world. So she's head in the sand, living in the mundane world right now, and that's just where she is, and she's like, I don't want to be where you are, right? So that's why we're not together, because she's not willing and can't have it around her. And I'm looking at the wrong camera again.
No worries, because you're used to the computer setup. It's new on the cell phone, so we do that. But it's like you're just you're looking at the chat, and that's a good thing.
Looking at the chat, and then I go over and I hover over to the camera while I'm talking. I'm like, what am I doing? Camera is here.
I forget about that sometimes. That's why usually whenever I've got the stream on, I'll put my face right under the camera because I have a tendency of looking at myself. No, I'm not fucking vain at all.
What's hilarious about that? I don't normally watch myself after I speak.
Well, the majority of my videos were just me, and so I have to talk to somebody. I have to have a visual.
Yeah, so you're looking at yourself, right? When you're doing that.
And in reality, life is like that because we are dealing with ourselves anyway. Because you are me in another dimension.
True that. Yeah. So when I did that show on Saturday, I had to record it, and they got it up afterwards. I actually went back and watched myself.
Okay.
I don't normally do that. I watched myself for the whole hour, and I was literally, seriously.
Yeah.
Watching me, and I was going, okay, all right. Oh no, that actually sounded pretty good. I did pretty good right there. I'm like, and then I went, did I say that? Wow. Wait a minute.
I try to do that.
I must have channeled that. I don't know where that came from. Wow, that's cool. I was brilliant. That wasn't me. I don't remember saying it.
I try and do that. I've got 5 of my videos that are open that I'm trying to rewatch and analyze like a coach. I'm trying to see where the mistakes are and where I can improve and everything else. But I can't get past 5-10 minutes of the video because I get sick of seeing myself.
That's why I just stare at the camera, and that way I don't notice. I don't see myself. Usually I have the camera off to where I can't see the screen.
It's not that I'm sick of seeing, but I always have to be creating something new. And so when I'm seeing that, it's like a waste of time because that's the past. That's already been. And so it's wasting time in the present, focusing on something in the past. And it's just too much time lost. And I can't get into those videos and watch them to figure out what I did wrong. But anyway, if I have more time, maybe I'll be able to focus on that. But
right. Tony asked the question, do you think that there's a correlation between spiritual type souls and addiction? No, not really. I think we humans are addictive. We have addictive personalities. And so I think just us humans is part of the distraction that is there to keep us from paying attention to ourselves. So everything's a distraction. So I think we have addictive personalities. That's part of the ego to keep us distracted. I think that's what it is. I really do.
Yeah.
And that's my opinion. What do you think about that?
Well, addictions are usually we're feeding a lack in our soul. There's a big empty void, and we want to fill it. Addictive personality is also genetic. I get it from my alcoholic grandfather. My father tried not to drink very much because he knew that he had that gene. So instead of being 50% tendency, I'm more of a 25% tendency, but I'm proving that it's more like a 75% tendency. But we try and fill voids with something, and that's where spirituality usually comes in, because you can kick addictions if you're truly filled in spirit. You don't need anything else to fill you up. You don't need anybody else. You don't need anything else, any other sensation, because you're full and you're into spirit, and you need nothing, barely even food. Some people, supposedly survive on air. I don't know how that fucking works, because I'm not at that level yet.
Me either. I agree with you, right?
But it's the addictions are there to fill a void, but the void is there for a reason. It's usually a God-sized hole.
Yeah.
So the closer you are to God, the smaller the hole is going to be, because He fills it up.
Agreed, my friend. Agreed. Ginger came up with, and I got to put this up because she's talking about Uncle. That's Uncle Phil, right? Dr. Phil Lane Jr. Has a wonderful course, 4 Worlds Talking Circle, heading.
Healing.
Oh, healing. You're right. Sorry, I have to turn my head up. I have my bifocals on instead of my reading glasses. Healing, where you pass a stick around the circle. This is very Aborigine. He's an Aboriginal chief who she's talking about. Each one is respectfully quiet and listens until next time. A great way to clear your space. Agreed. That's, the Native Americans do the same thing with sage. Using sage. And
you're passing it around because that's the one that has the right to talk. So nobody else can interfere, no matter how much they want to. So it's a question of let them fucking talk. You can't just talk over them. And
be respectful and wait. Yeah.
That would be something good for modern society, because we need a talking stick on our channel, man. When me and Aaron are on, we're gonna have a talking stick. Wait. Pass around.
Look.
There you go.
It has a little Merlin face here. Yeah,
I can't do Merlin. I'm more the Mexican thing.
Right. This is my druid walking stick. It even has a little Merlin carved into it.
I'll just raise my hand.
Yeah, there you go. Shows that I'm
I want to word with you.
Right. That's good. Norma says, we've talked about this. She says, I like a drink. I have issues every now and then. Everybody does, right? Every now and again. But for the most part, I just like feeling relaxed. Well, I have horrible arthritis. I have arthritis of a 65-year-old man in every joint. The only place I don't have arthritis right now is my spine, and I'm lucky for that. Considering, I guess, if you're Irish, you have a strong back, weak mind, right? But I have a strong back, but I have arthritis in every joint. In fact, I don't know if you can see this on my thumb right now. Let me get it in camera. You see where the redness is on my knuckle there? That's actually from arthritis. That's arthritis in that knuckle. I used to get it on every single knuckle. If you go back and watch my YouTube videos from 2016, you'll see I have Band-Aids on almost every knuckle. When I was in the desert, dried out, and
why'd you have those?
It's actually it's psoriasis caused by arthritis.
Oh,
and it happens people get it in all their joints, and it cracks open. At first, it turns red, and then it cracks open and bleeds. And I put steroids on this prior to, so that this right here dried up, and it's still there, but it's the only one. Back in 2016, I literally had a Band-Aid on every knuckle that I have, all my knuckles, almost all the time, because of my arthritis. And when it flares up, that's stuff that happens. So I drink because I hurt. And I also have the ringing in my ears, and I can't sleep because of the ringing in my ears and my pain. So I take like an aspirin, and I drink alcohol. And people who go, oh, well, that's just you're self-medicating. You're just using that as an excuse because you're an alcoholic. I breathe. I'm addicted to air too. I breathe. I breathe. I have to breathe because I'm addicted to air. I have to eat food. I'm addicted to food. Right. And so everybody who says that, they have an addiction and they don't realize it. And they're like, oh, you're an alcoholic, as they're smoking a cigarette, or as they're adding more salt to a salty piece of bacon. Right. And
they're on their third pizza.
Yeah. Or they're on their third pizza. They have an addiction, and everybody has an addiction. And the truth is that if who was it that was saying we're talking about going on the air? People who go on the air consistently and then they miss a day, they have that addiction. Like, no, I need to be talking on air. It's an addiction. We have an addicted personality, and everything we do is an addiction. Look, I'm drinking coffee. So is Miguel. That's an addiction. We like coffee. Right? I don't know if you have any whiskey in yours. I do not. But what I'm saying is he could. And it's normal. It's okay. So people who judge other people and say, "Oh, you're an alcoholic," judge not lest ye be judged. That wasn't
they're just trying to make themselves feel better generally.
Right. And that's usually the way it is. Right.
Yeah, because it's like, I'm okay because that other person's worse.
That other person's worse than me, so my life must be okay.
Exactly. And it's never about anybody else. It's about you. Life is always about you.
Right.
You have to be okay, and you have to recognize things that you do. And if you don't, well, that's just a lack of growth, and that's on you. Because there are billions of people on the planet, and not many are actually elevating or awakening or improving, or, a lot of them are dying of hunger or dying of depression, throwing themselves off bridges, and or just, dying slowly out of fucked up retirement plans.
Right. Looks like
I don't want to get to 92. So hopefully I'll get to 60, maybe. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, Aaron's trying to come on, but his camera hasn't come on yet. So once he gets that cleared up, we'll get him on here.
All right. Well, that'll be cool.
There, did I see it? It's almost came on. It showed his picture. He's getting there.
I got my talking stick.
I know, right? Yeah, it almost came on, and then he went off. So he'll log back on. Last time he had to do that twice as well. See, okay. And so everybody has issues. We all have issues, guys. We're trying to do this. I was trying to log on to a Crowdcast on Saturday and couldn't do it. So I ended up recording it on here, taking the recording, downloading it, and then transferring it to them, and then they loaded it for everybody to see. So unfortunately, I couldn't be there live.
I have a question for you on StreamYard. Now, I don't know. I've got the free version. You've got the upgrade, and so I don't know if it'll work on mine. But I think on the paid version, there's a way for you to access your videos and be able to download them to other areas. I don't know how to access my videos, so whenever I'm using StreamYard, it's like they're on YouTube and I can't have access to them in order to download them onto Rumble, for example.
I don't know if it's because you have to pay to have that, but I have it. If you go back to your studio in the past, and instead of going into the studio, or you can go into the studio, up at the top of the screen, there'll be a share button. If you click on that to share it, it'll open up and it actually says you can download the MP4 file or the MP3 file or both. But if it's not there, then what I did before I did this, before I found that, was I went live on Facebook as well, because when you go to your own Facebook channel, you can download the video.
Okay. Yeah, I'm doing everything over to YouTube.
So that's why I simulcast on both Facebook and YouTube. I did that originally so that I could save my video, and now I don't have to. So I don't really care if they boot me anymore, because I can get it right from StreamYard. When everybody leaves the studio, I click on a thing that says share, and then I just download the MP4 and MP3 file, so I don't have to have a converter anymore to go from MP4 to MP3.
And then does that all for you.
I want to share it. Yeah.
All right, that's cool.
Well, so see if that's there, because I don't remember if that popped up after I had after I started paying them, or if they had. I think it's you have a limited amount. I only have, as it is, 50 gigabytes of memory in that as well. So I have to go back and delete older episodes, but that doesn't matter because I already have them all downloaded to my hard drive. So if I wanted to share an older episode and StreamYard's not carrying it, I have that on my hard drive.
I put a new hard drive on my computer, and the asshat basically ended up wiping out my other hard drive. So all my files just got lost. Okay.
That sucks. I had that on my Apple. I think I just killed my Apple, and I have like the first 2.5 years of my podcast downloaded there, but not downloaded onto my other hard drive. But I do have them on YouTube, so I could try and get it from there. That's crazy, right? Yeah. So Aaron did try to come in, and then he hasn't. So he's got something he's trying to work on.
All right. He's
to be open more spiritually. Angela says to be open more spirit, or to be more open spiritually. Spirituality, world, and the unknown. You can't have any addiction to alcohol or drugs inside of your body. You will see more of this, and then it says unseen. So
unseen, yeah. Yeah, those like I generally say, whenever you're on the red level, that survival level, that base level, the connection with the spirit ends up being weaker. So the higher your level is, the stronger the connection is. You're closer to the divine, and so the divine will speak to you more freely and more openly. Generally, that's been my experience. If I get too base, I lose contact with the Father, and that really wipes me out, because he's my source of energy, of life, of motivation, of getting up in the morning and everything else. And without that connection with the Father, basically life doesn't have much of a meaning, because I'm too damn old to be the millionaire that I dreamed I was going to be when I was 18. So it's different focus in life, basically.
Right. Ariel says, Leo, would God be angry if someone was married and is in a loveless marriage and met someone who made them happier and wanted to be with them? Should they stay in the marriage, or should they stay in the marriage? And I scrolled the screen, sorry, or be with the who they love? But God's not going to be angry with you for any choices that you make, because God gave you free will to do what you're doing. If you're in a loveless marriage and you've met somebody who makes you happy, I would suggest starting to look at the idea of possibly making an exit strategy and seeing if that other thing is going to work, because you already know that it's not working where you're at, unless you think you can give that a shot and go to counseling. And right now my ministry is coming out, and to go to counseling first to see if you can make that work. If you know that's not going to work.
It never works, because it always goes in a woman's favor, because we're always assholes. We're fucked up. We're the problem, and they're
the problem. I hate to say that, but sometimes it does. But see, when I went with my first marriage, the counselors were always, "How about we leave your husband out for a while and we deal with you for a while?"
Your body.
What's that?
Your body. You're coming like it's kind of a robot, that sort of thing.
Oh, right.
So if you could repeat what you said, because I only caught half of it.
Okay, because that must have been my Wi-Fi. I apologize for that. Okay, so I was trying to figure out what you're saying. My Wi-Fi must have diminished and it was messed up. So what I'm saying is
still a little bit robotic, though.
Is it? Okay. So yeah, my Wi-Fi is working, so I'm not sure why it's coming in the way. It's probably because I was playing with shit. So
it might be the memory on your phone.
Who knows? I don't know. I just know that it's working. It's plugged in. Maybe I have too much crap open. I see that. There's a lot of stuff I have open here. Let me clear all that out. That might help a little bit. Not quite sure why it's doing that. Am I still a little tinny, or am I okay?
You're better now.
Okay. It might have been I had too much stuff going on my phone, and I turned it off and closed it. So the decisions that you make aren't going to be, God's not going to get mad at you for making a decision, because you have free will. So again, I say that if you're with someone and it's a loveless marriage and you know it's not going to work, if tried counseling and that doesn't work, I would look at what's going on. I know a person who had it happen. She was in a marriage where her husband just didn't love her anymore, and he just didn't care, and he was treating her like crap because she was waking up. So he was treating her like, crap. So eventually she reunited with what she called the love of her life, the guy that got away in high school. And he showed up right at the right time, and he was also getting out of a marriage, and she left her husband, and then bam, there he is, and the two of them got together, and it's been 3 years now, and they're beautiful together. So
yeah, I've got an uncle that did the same thing. My grandfather did the same thing. My father ended up marrying the secretary. So yeah, those stories are all over the place, and they're all over the Bible and in the Old Testament as well. But it's and it was something that was set up in the Hebrew times, and basically Moses allowed for divorce if people couldn't get along, they couldn't deal with each other at all. Well, then get away. The problem was, and what they mentioned is the tendency that people get into habits and situations that they shouldn't necessarily be getting into, because it's all that the stuff that modern society is doing now anyway. Remember that back then you only had relations with the one that you were married to, period. You didn't do it beforehand, you didn't do it afterwards. You only had it with that person at that time. that has changed, and that's on society. Society has changed. The rules haven't, and the eternal Alpha and the Omega has not as well. But society has become an increasingly godless society, focused on the individual needs and wants, versus what the Creator actually has as a program and a definition for our lives. We have the free will to do what we want to do, but there is a larger destiny that God planned with us, because he has a divine plan for each and every one of us. If we choose to reach out and reach that divine plan that God has, that is also our choice, and we will be blessed because of it. If we choose to go out on dry branches and, experiment all kinds of stupid shit, like, I don't know, taking 13 hits of LSD on a New Year's Eve or something, you go down some really dark fucking paths, and sometimes there's no coming back. And those people end up being lost, and they spiral, and they get into their own little realities, and they never get out. So, getting out on dry vines is always a dangerous thing. You want to stay close to the source at all times. But people aren't like that nowadays. They are lovers of themselves. It's what Revelation talked about. Right. They don't have a fear of God or love of something greater or larger. They're stuck on their own individual. I want. I need. The world owes me. The world owes me. The world owes me. Instead of, I'm fed by the Father. Father loves me. I love through him. And so we act in his will, so that we can be better stewards in this earth. And the reason that we have free will is because God wants us to actually choose to do the good things that he had set up before us. We can choose to do evil and stupid shit. Yeah, but we're going to pay the price in the end. Why? Because there are no blessings in stupid evil shit. There's usually just pain and hardship at the end, but people never like to see that, because the high is fucking awesome. So we don't see any pitfalls, because heroin is just freaking awesome. Never tried it, but the reason that people get stuck on it is because it is just that much. The only thing that is supposedly more addictive than heroin is cigarettes, nicotine. And so that habit I've got bad, and that motherfucker's killing me. But I can't go without smoking a cigarette, because it's that internal, it makes me feel better. Yeah, right. I'm so relaxed and calm because I'm not irritated, because I don't have the
right.
But I feel fucking great. This stuff's good.
Great, man. Right. And Tony, I have a fan that's on. He asked the question: do you guys have one of you guys have crickets out there? I don't know.
I have my patio. I'm in my patio, so I've got all kinds of crickets out here.
So you're probably hearing that. However, I have a fan that's blowing. It's actually a wind machine, and it's over there, and it actually has a slight cricket sound to it, but it's not. So I wasn't sure if he was picking that up or not. Aaron, if you're still out there and you're hearing us, for some reason, you dropped out of the guest slot and you weren't. I couldn't see a camera or anything. So if you're still out there, yes, please go out, log back in, and I'll see if we can pull you in, brother. I don't know if he's still there, but he was in the green room, and then he dropped off, and then he typed in the chat, do I need to go out and come back in? But he hasn't come back in. And I have people chatting to me, and I'm trying to pull that off the screen. So misery isn't God's will, and some people will tolerate it. And he's talking about it. Ariel's answering what you were talking about, how some people were miserable, and so she was answering that's not God's will. It's just that some people will tolerate misery and allow it to happen.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
There were so many comments before that. I got
there was a lot.
I was trying to read them.
There's many.
There's the chat is just rocking today, so that's a good thing. Lots of stuff that I'm going through here.
Yeah, some of it, like Julie said, that happened to my cousin. He reconnected with his high school love, been married now for about 7 years. See, so there was a another person that did the same thing. That they grew out of the relationship they were in and ended up with someone else, right? So yeah, I don't, that's crazy. Hopi prophecy, Ginger. Hopi prophecy. When cobwebs cover the sky, it is the time for purification, aka geoengineering, right? Chemtrails. Yeah, right. Contrails, chemtrails, right? Purification. It's a very personal process. Yes, Tony. A unified light source field focused, right? And then it says conscious / spirit / love / will / essence, intent, aka what is that?
Declarative prayer.
Declarative prayer equals manifestation / creation. Reason, healing of what is that? Ovarian cancer, 2003, right?
Yep.
So yeah,
Hopi prophecy about the chemtrails. Yeah, we're in purification. We are in the end times. Yeah. We're past 2012. We are on the news cycle, and we're going through a massive fucking filter. So the thing that always concerns me is that in Revelation it talked about a great awakening, and that's where we're at right now. There is great awakening around the world where we're seeing all the bullshit for what it is. The problem with the great awakening is that following the great awakening is a great falling away, to where people will lose all faith and hope in the creator, and they'll end up accepting the words that are most agreeable to them. And therein lies the crux of the problem, because they will accept the mark freely because they won't believe any of the things that warn them against the mark.
And that's the plan of the AI God. That's the plan of the Orion Crusaders, to get everybody to do just that, to buy into that by proxy, because to tear down that wall, tear down that prison, tear down the clergy, tear down the ideology, and get everybody thinking there is nothing, so they'll accept it readily on their own and go, screw it, and just do it, right? So I agree.
Look, I need money, so I'll do it. Whatever, doesn't mean anything, and you just die a couple of weeks later. But hey, that's no problem. You needed the money, right?
Let's see if we can
Aaron. Woohoo!
Right. We'll see if he's buffing. We'll see if he gets in. So his face was there a minute ago, so he's having issues as well with his Wi-Fi today for some reason, just like the rest of us, right? So we're having a little bit of a problem here or there. So we'll see if
Jackson had a question that I'm reading on right now, that because of his doubt of being able to do things properly enough keeps him from trying things.
Who are you talking about?
Tony Jackson. About 15 minutes ago, I had a comment up there underneath Star Child and that sort of thing. Above Ginger. Breatharians, lovely. Oh, the Breatharians. That's Ginger's comment. The Breatharians, the ones that live on air. They eat air, basically.
Right.
Don't know how that works, but they're like plants and everything available, allowing alien parasites, archons control negative energy. Yes. Eastern Alabama, Cherokee mother's side. Fleming Scott's father's Druid Celts. Very spiritual family, sounds like it. And according to eseti.org, James, open mind, loving heart, pure intent, and adding no judging or harm. So yeah, those are some good comments there. And Tony, yeah, right. That's one of the reasons I'm very OCD, which is the reason that I didn't do videos for about 6 months whenever I was on Jacob's channel, because it was easier just allowing somebody else to take on the responsibility. I just fly off the rails and say whatever was on my mind, and people evidently loved it. It wasn't my channel, and I was just showing up on somebody else's channel. On mine, I'm very OCD because it's my face, my reputation. I'm going to be the one looking it up and everything else. And so I want to do things fucking perfect. And that did hold me back a lot. And it's one of the reasons why I haven't actually finished my book, because it's not good enough yet. Yeah, those things hold us back. That's kind of your view of your reality is holding you back. You think it needs to be a certain way, but you know what I've found out in this last year is the things that I thought were below par and relatively unacceptable, some people fucking love, and they just get into that shit really hard. So it is the Pena Perspective Show. Welcome, everybody. How you doing? So Wi-Fi issues. We got Leo trying to reset up his Wi-Fi, and we got Aaron the shaman trying to do the same thing. Oh yeah, it was a Pena perspective there for a minute, not a problem.
Right. Sorry about that. I went to talk to Aaron, and I ended up leaving out of the group. Had to re-log in.
You shut down your Chrome again?
Yeah, I just said to her. No, what I did was I left the StreamYard and I had to re-enter StreamYard. I was trying to do it without picking up my phone and moving my phone around, so I was trying to just touch the screen, and I went boop and left. I'm like, oh crap, get back in there. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Aaron said, for some reason, I'm not seeing your video or hearing your audio. Send the link again. Okay, let me send the link again, bro.
All right.
Hold on. So let me do that. We'll get
I'm trying to catch up with the chat because it's just flying as well.
Okay, so I resent him a new copy of the link, and we'll see what happens there and see if he can get in. For some reason, when he's coming into the green room, he's not actually able to even see us or hear us. And then he's trying to come in, and I can't see him, so I don't add him back in. So,
all right.
Whoops. Now I'm falling over because I've been moving my phone, and I'm trying to stack my phone, and it won't stay where I have it set up. It keeps falling down. I don't know why. Hold on. And then I unlock my glasses on the floor. That's why. There's a stupid pen in the way.
No worries. We're a patient family here, buddy.
Right. There we go.
Perfect.
So, yeah, so I don't know if Aaron's going to be able to get in because he's having technical difficulties worse than me.
Tony Jackson's also had internet problems. He cut out 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, right. Hey, what's going on? Maybe they're trying to shadow ban us because of what we're talking about. You never know these days with what's going on, right?
Well, no, we didn't hit on Maxwell House at all so far, so there's no real reason for them to be doing that shit, unless the fact that we're getting into the spiritual and then it's a demon attack. That would be a whole nother fucking level,
right?
All right.
Yes,
still reading through the chat. Sorry.
Yeah, hold on. I was trying to log my computer into Facebook, and it was asking for my phone to accept it. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to screw that. Right. So let's see what we missed in the chat while I was too busy screwing around here. Let me rewind the chat. Oh wait, Aaron's trying to come in again. So let's see if he can come in. See, so Aaron, I don't know if you can see us or hear us, but I see his name, Aaron, but I don't see a picture, and I don't know if he's got a microphone. I don't know why it's not letting him in. Let me hit the button. We'll see if he can buff to where if he can come in or not. No, I hit it, and I think he disappeared. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there. And then I got people talking to me. Right?
Physics of unified intent.
What's that?
Ginger, physics of unified intent. You got tillerfoundation.org. Oh wow, she's close to Machu Picchu. That's fucking awesome. I love that place. Actually, that's the image on my YouTube channel and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, it is. That's right.
Yeah, because I don't want to have copyright strikes or anything else, so that's my picture. And considering I took it, so it's my fucking copyright.
Yeah.
So, nobody can copyright a mountain. Although they have, I've tried to get some mountain images and that sort of thing. They're all copyrighted as well. So I'd like actually Aaron to help me make a simplified logo of my Machu Picchu mountains and that sort of thing. I was trying to figure something out for merch, stuff. I don't know. I'm just spitballing and thinking stuff creative. That's how you do it. You try and think about the things that you want and work towards those various steps to get there. So yeah, that's one of the next steps that I want to be able to take care of. But getting back into the chat, Star Child, love that name. That's really bizarre. Yeah, we have a reason, but we always pay the price, definitely. Right.
So this is kind of cool. Tony says, he says, years ago in my local high school, there was this guy sitting at a bench, he was asking passerbys to look at this picture of a hummingbird just above an area of water, and you could see the bird in its reflection. It was beautiful. And everyone was ignoring him and I stopped and I looked, and he started telling me, have you heard what they're doing to the skies, and they're spraying chemicals, and I've never shown this man around, never saw this man around again, but I was in the shock when I realized that he was right.
He was a crazy old man looking at hummingbirds. He was smelling the roses.
He was smelling the roses, absolutely. Right. That's why
you do that, you see all the shit. Because if you're focused on your thing, you don't see anything else around you. And so most people are so stuck in their little rut of you go to work in the morning, you come back and you eat lunch, and then you do the movie and the dinner and the late night TV, and then you go to sleep, and it's a whole rhythm again. And you're only focused on that. You don't see anything else going on anywhere else in life, and you don't see anybody else's problems. And so that's why people just drive by homeless people or mentally ill or whatever, and they'll just drive by and not even notice. Oh, life's good because it's good for me right now. So we need to step out of ourselves as well, but not to blame others for things that happen. No, stepping out of yourself is stepping out of yourself to be able to see everything else, get a bigger picture of things so you can figure out who you can help next. Because yes, it's about us. It's about how we improve, how we find the things that we need to improve in our lives and actually improve on those, but then externalize through good actions and being able to help other individuals once we've been able to introspect and find our own source of peace. That's my idea anyway.
Right. Welcome, Omar. Welcome, brother. Omar came in to say hi. You guys should take a look at Omar's web channel. If you haven't taken a look at Watchers, you should take a look at Watchers Talk and pay attention to what he's talking about. Oh, here he comes back on YouTube there with his Watchers. There's Watchers Talk.
I haven't seen that channel. I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Oh yeah, definitely. He puts together big webinars like I was doing. He puts together bigger ones and works on bigger ones with the guys from Portal to Ascension, where they do 5-day events. I had to stop doing that. I couldn't keep up. I couldn't sit there for 12 hours a day. I did it a few times, but it was so much. I couldn't have any part of doing that. It was just too much. Even when I was putting together big events, I had to back off because I couldn't handle sitting here and doing this and running the show for 12 hours a day. So we ended up cutting down to 2-3 hours because it was just too intense on me being away from my mother and everything that's going on. I needed a partner who could do the stuff and I could run away. Like I could leave now and you could just ad lib and take care of the whole thing, right? But at the time I didn't have people who could do that. It was helping me. So I ended up having to go, no, got to back off of that for a while, right? Yeah, so we didn't want to do that.
What's this? Now I get it. That he had come in. He had come in on.
Sorry, is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Me or you? Oh no, it was me. Somebody's trying to call me, so I declined that. Sorry.
They were calling me, so that's why it caught me off guard. The Watchers Talk, he logged in on YouTube, whereas I think he was the Omar, I guess, that was on YouTube on Facebook. Is that or am I missing that connection? I guess it's something different. Okay, so still reading through the chat, almost down to the bottom.
There we go.
Aaron, you're on.
You know what? I think it was my phone, dude. I think you were right. My phone is so gone on memory right now. It's full and it doesn't have shit on it right now.
Yeah, so it has a lot of apps and routines that it runs in the background, and that usually just takes it up. And the older they are, the more routines that they add in there without you actually seeing them or knowing about it.
Right. So how y'all doing? I've been listening.
All right. So fill us in. I'm getting hoarse.
I mean, there's a lot of shit to talk about. I mean, what the Omicron, the moronic virus, is that what it's called? That's how I keep saying it, but I'm dyslexic.
I'm glad you finally got on, brother.
I think that's an anagram, isn't it? Omicron?
Can you guys hear me?
Isn't that
for moronic? Yeah, there's so many things that can be connected to that particular name. Yes, it is extremely bizarre.
Yeah, it is. It's we live in a cartoon. As long as we just know that, then we can make that cartoon whatever we want. But, it's hard when we get bullies in our ear all the time and in our eyes.
Well, I still haven't learned how to fly like Neo, but I'm working on it.
Right? I mean, maybe someday. I fly in my dreams, so I pretty much. You've done that, right? You've done the
no.
Flight.
I don't fly. I don't fly in my dreams.
Really?
No.
Oh,
I don't dream.
Well, you do, but you forget.
No, actually, I have a habit which makes dreaming not. Maybe that's why I don't have restful sleep. Because I used to hate my dreams.
You don't get to certain levels of sleep, right?
Yeah, the REM isn't. Whenever you've got high cannabis use, you end up shutting down. And I didn't know that until just a couple of years ago. I was reading up some stuff, and yes, it shuts down your dream centers to where you just don't. And that's one of the reasons why
I must be one of the statistics that's opposite of that, because I cannabis use, I dream very well.
Well, see, the thing
my job.
I was always uncomfortable with my dreams, because for some reason, I slip into time dimensions and I have deja vu like a son of a bitch.
I mean, that's why I do it. That's really why I do it.
I had it naturally, and it was bothersome because there's some things in the future that I didn't necessarily enjoy seeing, so that's why I anesthetize myself with alcohol and other essences. I always try to stay as natural as I possibly can, because the more industrialized and produced something is, the more dangerous it is for you.
Right.
It's like we were talking about Machu Picchu. When you're going up there, there's a particular plant in that area which is useful for you to have the decent heart rate to get your blood pumping at higher elevations and allow you to deal with being 2 miles up. Right. So there are leaves that are natural to that region that are used for that benefit. Now, the modern man has taken and twisted that. And they take these leaves, they take 8 pounds of leaves to create 1 gram, or 8 kilos of leaves to create 1 gram of a highly industrialized and chemical powder that destroys people's lives. So you go from something that's beneficial, something natural, something that has a useful purpose, to something that is highly addictive, toxic, and causes death.
What is this plant? Are you talking about ayahuasca?
No, I was talking about the coca leaves.
Oh, the coca, yeah. And they do use it for spiritual purposes.
Oh yeah, because
they have that little what do they call it? There's like it's a little looks like a mortar and pestle, but it's basically them like dipping. They dip it in powder.
They've actually
but it's coming straight. I mean, it's refined, but it's only refined by the farmers.
Oh.
So
see, there was one where they took 2 plants and they rubbed them together in their palms, and then I smelled that, and it opened up your lungs, and you got your energy again. Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about dicing and adding chemicals and mixing it into a whole hot brew and broth.
You're talking about cocaine, right?
Yeah,
Cocaine.
That shit is highly industrialized, very dangerous, very addictive, and
sorry for popping out there. I had some asshat trying to call me on my phone, and every time I hit no, the asshole I'm going to talk to afterwards just kept calling me anyways. Some foreigner from Africa, or maybe it was from Brazil. No.
It wasn't
Somebody
me.
was actually trying to call me. No, it wasn't you, bro. Somebody was actually trying to call me. I was like, no. And then they called me back. I was like, no. And then I was sitting there. Then my microphone, because they tried to call me, turned off, and I could barely hear you guys. I had to leave the studio.
I noticed you keep close to it.
And then I had to come back in before I could even hear you guys. And if that guy
do you know who it was? Because
somebody who's a friend of mine. But people in Africa are rude. They just call you. They can just do that, right? And just call you. We don't act like that over in America. We're not cool with somebody just dialing the number and calling you a stranger.
Yeah, live stream. Some of these people are watching the live stream and then calling in, which we should we should set up a call in so people can ask questions. That'd be a good
It depends on your platform. If we're on Spreaker, there's a phone number that you can have people call in.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we don't have that feature yet on here. I'm sure they'll come up with it eventually. But that's where, if you want to come on, then you ask us and we give you an invite and you come in. And talk.
Exactly.
You know, calling a phone number over and over like a freaking troll.
That's why I go for my laptop, and then I'm like looking at notifications from my phone, but it doesn't cut me off. Thank God.
Well, that's because
I didn't know that it did that until just now when they did that. I think maybe when I was trying to enter you, Aaron, into the thing that I ended up with. I think I ended up with hitting the button and answering that, and then hanging up, and then my microphone was stuck over there.
I know. I saw you, dude. I saw you. I could see.
Did you see me all mad going?
I felt like you were like on Star Trek. You know when they get attacked and there's like a rattling going on, like
for a minute. Yeah, old Star Trek from the 60s. You know what I hear funny about that?
We were watching about Peter's comment of the pigeons with cameras. Right. So we were. Where is that? Is that up there ways or is it back there ways? My thing is not messing. I'm way off from the chat. No, sure. It's only about 8 minutes back. 10:25. Oh, okay. I don't have a timeline on my chat, so. No, but it's on the StreamYard. Oh, can you see the pigeons outside, right? Yeah, can you see the pigeons outside your home? There you go. And it sits on the fence constantly. Pigeons are having video cameras, right? So they're filming everything that he's doing over there, right? I wouldn't doubt something like that. I saw those guys who claimed they made the fly that landed on what's his name, Pence's head, and they claimed they did that, and they landed one on Barack Obama's face, and he killed it. So it was a drone. That's just a whole different thing.
We've got a great clip for you.
So check this out. A story to that Captain Kirk thing. When we went to see one of the movies in the theater a long time ago, it was the one where they got caught and went to prison in that Rura Pente, the prison, and they met up with that shapeshifter woman. And it was really quiet in the theater. It was dark, and it was at night on the movie. And the shapeshifter woman climbs in the bunk bed with Captain Kirk, and my buddy Scott sitting next to me, all of a sudden goes, because you know what's going to happen, right? Kirk's always getting the women, right? So as soon as she crawls
and the red shirts always die.
Yeah, as soon as she crawls up his body, my buddy goes, dun, 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 he got a standing ovation in the crowd. For doing that, because it's Kirk, it's on. If it's a female, it's on. And he even made a comment about having sex and finding out she was a shapeshifter. And he's like, how does that even work?
Captain Kirk slept with everybody.
Everything that moved.
I mean, yeah.
He was a man whore. He was
a man whore. But I like the whole series, like all of them. I do too.
I watch all of that. I don't choose between Star Wars or Star Trek. I love it all.
Right. I don't either. I don't draw a line there that we shouldn't in anything. We shouldn't be that bipolar about shit. We need to be able to see all of it and enjoy it. If you people ask me what kind of music do you like? I don't know. If it sounds good, then I like it. I don't care where it comes from. I don't care what style it is. If it's good, it's good.
Well, that's like with music, man. I like all music, and it doesn't matter, dude. You know what I'm saying? I like all genres. It depends on my mood, what I want to listen to. Right? When I write, I listen to classical. When I'm working out, I listen to speed metal. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it just depends on what I'm doing.
I got a song for you. I wanted to say it live. A band called Havoc.
Havoc, I know. I've heard of it.
Yeah, dude. They came up with a song. I can't remember the name of the song. Let me look it up. Hold on. But they've got a new song, and dude, it reminds me of Megadeth. Like, I don't want to put them in there, but in that,
yeah, Megadeth rock.
They sound completely like Megadeth, but they do kind of have like that, the ghost of Megadeth. I hear the spirit of Megadeth in them.
Well, there's a lot of influence. If you listen to Amon Amarth, you can hear Iron Maiden in them from old days, from old school. They have a lot of Iron Maiden licks. Their rhythm, that one that they love to do, that's that really fast. That one is from Iron Maiden. That one came straight from Iron Maiden. It's old school rhythm, old school lick. Yeah. Yeah, Peter says Star Trek invented the mobile phone and the tablet, by the way, and the tablet. And a few other things. Gene Roddenberry was a genius. He said the communicator was the first flip phone, right? It says, who did Gene Roddenberry know? When did he know? When did he know it? Right? I mean, that's the truth of it. Think about it.
Tesla.
Well, hold on. That one's a little bit backwards. The thing about Star Trek is that they actually use science for their shows. And so there are things that are scientifically probable, even though they weren't real. That's one. Two, whenever they were designing the flip phone, they wanted specifically to copy the Star Trek version. That's why they did it. So Star Trek inspired the flip phone. It's not that they knew it was going to happen beforehand, because otherwise they would have done one of these things. But because the flip phone lasted for 4 years.
It didn't take too long, and they were past it. Yeah.
So now you go onto the news shows and they just tap this little button on their uniform, and that's like the proximity sensor, and all of a sudden they're talking to somebody in their ear. So that's.
I want to read what Ginger is saying here. This is actually very important. What she says here, right? Ginger says, why we need, I think what we need is what was supposed to be there. Why we need to restore, or maybe not, works either way. Why we need to restore community, right? Communities of safety / common law, national liberty, alliance, same traditional Cherokee council, take the money out, agreed, right? Governments do not work, Michael Tellinger, with his old African Ubuntu planet community. And you guys can go to ubuntu.org, or I think it's ubuntu.org, and take a look at that stuff there, what she's talking about there. And then so one small town, everyone has a purpose. Everyone is cared for. Everybody, there's no money needed, and everybody does stuff. And then she says, "Buen vivir" in South America, which means the same thing as Ubuntu does in African, and in South America, solution living. So the truth is, if everybody does their job and works for the hall, like you have one day where you have to do the jobs nobody wants to do. Who's going to be the garbage pickup? Who's going to do the sanitation? Everybody does what they want to do. And then one day a week you have to work for the all, so that everybody equally has to do all the shit jobs. And because that's what needs to be done. Unless you have somebody who says, I'm good with being the garbage guy. I'm good with being, and then you can eliminate those. But you also still have to remember that when that person gets tired of it and says, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. Now we have to go back to and everybody has to agree to that. Then everybody gets everything they need. It's socialistic. The problem that even we have, I've talked to Michael Tellinger, so has Omar many times. The problem that they have is, like any other social program, when you get on a larger and larger scale, it starts to collapse and not work. Or if you get people in charge who are evil and want to have total control, then it becomes communistic, and then it becomes a dictatorship or whatever, and it breaks down. So it's a great idea, and it is a utopian idea, but it only works on small scales. We haven't been able to upscale it yet for large, like a government in charge of 380 million people.
Or 7.5 billion.
Or 5 billion on a planet. We just haven't found anything that works properly for us.
I agree. I feel like I really love the Ubuntu movement. I really love that you can grow up.
Michael Tellinger is fucking awesome.
And it is. But then you got to think about certain things, like you were just saying. You can get to a point where it's just total collectivism, and we don't want that. I mean, that's what we're dealing with right now. It's what we're fighting against.
Right.
Now, there's nothing wrong with uniting. I mean, look, we're uniting right now. We have differences in opinions, and guess what? We're all on the same stream. We all love each other. We're having a good conversation. I'm enjoying it. I've been enjoying it even when I wasn't on. There's got to be a balance there, I feel like there is a balance the way that we see it. Like, money's not evil. It's what it's being used for. It's who's hoarding it. That's the evil.
The love of money is the root of all evil. Why? Because people will do whatever they have to for the money. So it's
the power that the money gives.
And that's how are you treating that money? Like, do you believe that guns kill people, or do you believe people will kill people? I mean,
I think Alec Baldwin is a dumbass, and he sort of.
Oh my God! Like, should have never had oh my. I don't even know how that happened, and that could be.
But it was the gun. It was the gun's fault,
or like a psyop. We're dealing with.
See, this is the way I look at that. He's an entitled actor. They don't check the props. They assume that somebody else who's doing the job is going to check the prop, and he's not even. They hand him a gun. It's just, to him, it's a toy. Right. So there's no reason for him to look at it and check. You, we will check it.
Of responsibility. if you have something like that in your hand, you
really, I mean, really, are they that fucking
vapid? They are that vapid, that
like
superficial, and that fucking stupid.
If I was in control of that, and I'm not the smart wizard with the guns, but I do know
the difference between a loaded gun
and ammo in it.
It wasn't necessarily that.
Brandon Lee as well. I feel like there's something deeper to it.
Well, they were all messing around with it. None of them took it seriously because they were all left-wing asshats. Okay, so they were doing shit half-ass, not putting any respect or any news into it.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if these things were placed in a lockbox when they all went out for lunch.
Yeah.
So those things were actually laid out on a table because it's in a secure place.
There should never be live ammo on a movie set. No. The only live ammo that should be on a movie set is your security team, and they should not be mingling their ammunition.
But it's not. I don't think it was actually live ammo. I think it was blanks. But the way they loaded the motherfucker, they put it on the dirt on the ground, and so it was like buckshot.
No, that went through 2 people, man. One shot.
Yeah, they went through 2 people. That's not the paper wad.
And a couple of pieces of pebbles wouldn't have killed the camera girl.
No. It would have stuck in their skin.
Up close, it would, because there was a guy in Hollywood that took a gun that had blanks in it, and he put it to his head. Well, because he put it to his head, the sparks shoot out at least this far.
Yeah.
When you do that, the paper wad goes out at least that far.
It's the concussion.
It's the concussion in the paper wad. Yeah. So what went through those people was a live round. So that was an actual bullet with an actual copper top, right? That was actually on there, or a metal jacket. It wasn't lead, obviously, and it was a different size too. Here's the thing: the bullets that they use that are fake, the prop bullets are exactly like a real bullet, right? And they look like it, but it's a prop. Those don't. There's no gun that fits into except for a real gun, and those don't fire. So the gun he had in his hand was not a prop gun. It was a real gun.
Up on the screen. Look at what Julie just said. Said I've worked on movie sets. No live ammo ever. Professional handler to manage weapons. Very strict. Yes, and that's right. Like, the blast maybe.
I'm
telling you, I think the Brandon Lee thing was a weird one, and I feel like this.
Well, he was a sacrifice.
Weird that his father died from the same thing that Brandon died from.
Yeah,
and it was a
Bruce always used to talk about fighting the dragon.
Man, but remember,
Bruce was always fighting the dragon.
What was that Chinese family? He's from actually a pretty prominent Chinese family, Bruce Lee.
Right?
Yeah. And I love his philosophies, but remember,
the Lees are one of the 13 families.
Yeah. Bruce Lee, his family wasn't just Tom, Dick, or Harry.
No,
they weren't just like Smith and Jones. Even though there's Chin and Lee, the 2 biggest names in the Chinese language, or Chinese phone book. That's why the jokes of I have more chins than a Chinese phone book. That's why the joke, because everybody's name is Lee or Chin, right? It's like Smith and Jones to America. Everybody's name is Smith and Jones, right? So you have over in China, you have everybody's Lee or Chin. But Bruce Lee was one of the. Go ahead.
It's his mom's family. I'm going to pick it up right now. Go ahead, keep talking. I'll chime in here when I need to.
Well, what I'm saying is that whole thing to me sounded political when Bruce Lee got accidentally killed, and then you come forward in time, and his son is also making a movie, and the same thing happens to Brandon Lee. It happened to his father, and it kills him.
I mean, who the hell knows what happened to his dad? Like, what the hell? Like, all of a sudden, he just had some brain complication.
It was the same thing. They shot at him with blank guns, and one of the bullets was real, and they killed him.
Really?
So then you have 20 years later.
He died of some kind of weird, brain thing.
No, he got shot. He got shot and died from a bullet on set, just like his son did 20 years later. Almost to the day, which was even crazier. Look that up, bro. You'll trip on it.
That is a trip. Like, now that I'm hearing it, I'm like, wow.
Well, and then here's another one. You want to hear something else that's really weird, right? Abraham Lincoln gets assassinated, right, in a movie theater, and John Wilkes Booth, they chase him to a book suppository, and they burn him dead at a book suppository. Do you know what Abraham Lincoln's secretary's name was?
Yeah, I know.
Kennedy.
Yes.
So you come forward in time. That was in 1862. You come forward to 1962. John F. Kennedy gets shot from a book suppository. And they chase the guy down and get him in a movie theater. And guess what John F. Kennedy's secretary's name was? Lincoln.
Yep.
So both were killed 100 years apart Each one, all three things happened. The killer in the movie theater was caught in a book suppository. 100 years later, the killer was shot from a book suppository, caught in a movie theater, and Lincoln was Kennedy's assistant. And Kennedy was Lincoln.
I got it correct. It is a book depository.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said
suppository.
I'm sorry. Depository. Oh my God.
Books, we don't shove them up our ass.
He said it.
I mean, that's suppository.
I know some people think that's not the way you get.
Here, let me put this. Let me put this book up my nose.
No, that's not where a suppository goes.
I know. Thank you for that. I didn't realize I was saying suppository. I meant depository. Oh my Lord! Thank you for being here. Had I just been on by myself saying that, would have been embarrassing. Everybody would have been the same.
You would have been going on because it was the third time you said it. I thought you'd catch it the first time, but that's good.
No, I didn't. I was too busy making the correlation with the names of the times. I was paying more attention to that than the word I used.
No, it's because we all took it up the butt with those two because they completely took over the country after they eliminated them. So yeah, both their lives ended up being a great big suppository to the American people.
It really was a big suppository, like huge, like a big missile. It was
Never going to go down that line of the jokes, right?
Now you're talking about big missiles. You're talking about the one that hit the Pentagon or the ones that hit the towers.
I'm talking about the ones that shoved up our ass every time they did these false flags.
Every time,
like Omicron, right?
Yeah. Oh my God,
like
that's hilarious. Aren't you guys glad that you're here live to see this stuff happen? Yes.
Right? Everybody wants to visit the school suppository.
But
I love what Tony says here. Look at this. I love this. Sometimes I think that they set it up to be so crazy that no one will figure it out. Then great. I think they did it on purpose. The crazier that shit sounds, the crazier that's going on, the more you're distracted from what's happening. So as soon as you go, hey, what is that over there? They go, oh, look over here. Look over here. You got to see this. You got to see that. You got to see this trigger, Trump. You know what I mean? Something, anything to get your attention away from it. Like, for instance, think about this now. All of a sudden, they come up with really scary Omicron. We might have to lock down, and everyone goes, wait a minute, what are you saying? Well, quick, look over here. People killing people. Got to take their guns away. Don't look over at the Omicron thing. Just do what I tell you to do there, but look here. That's all they did all day today.
On Bruce Lee. I found something on Bruce Lee. All right.
Okay, go for it.
Family detail in the republicworld.com. I don't know who they are, but in here they claim Bruce Lee's father was Li Hoi Chuen. Chen. Was a Cantonese opera singer, so he was making pretty good money. Like, right. I don't think Bruce Lee came over here and washed any dishes like that movie.
The Chinese that leave China had bank, man.
Yes, he performed several gigs in the United States and used to frequently travel to the country with his wife, Grace Ho, and his children. Grace Ho, his mother, belonged to one of the wealthiest and most powerful clans in Hong Kong, the Ho Tongs. Li Hoi Chen and Grace Ho had 5 children: Phoebe Lee, Agnes Lee, Peter Lee, Bruce Lee, and Robert Lee. Li Hoi Chen died.
Wait, was Robert the one that came down to the south? Robert E. Lee?
Robert E. Lee. So, I mean,
Bobby Lee,
yeah. So they're basically one of the richest families.
Backstory that's usually from the elite. It's usually they're given these things.
Which is why they were pissed when he was teaching them when he was teaching Americans about kung fu, because that was Chinese culture. They didn't want that getting out.
Right.
That's why he fought the dragon. That's why the dragon took him out and took his son out.
And took the son out.
Because he was following in his father's footsteps. For him having crossed the dragon. And so it's a multi-generational thing.
Yep.
I don't know if Brandon actually had kids.
I don't know that he did either.
I
don't know. Yeah. But see, there again, it's politics. It's just like the Kennedys. They assassinated the Kennedys because they were dissenting from the narrative painted by the rich and the elite. Same thing that Bruce was doing. Same thing Brandon was doing.
Reagan. Reagan was going to out all the space shit, and
all of a sudden he got Alzheimer's. Yeah.
Huh? No, he got shot later on. The Alzheimer's because of the fucking shit that he did.
No, you're right. Yeah, he got shot. You're right. He was going to oust all the stuff, and he got shot. Same. Agreed.
Why? Because his handler was his VP.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But that's that rabbit hole. There was something on
Then
here.
If you look at the Bushes, their handler was their VP too. You had Cheney. Cheney was a lot more powerful than one or two.
He's way more powerful
than W. Dumbass.
I mean, when you can shoot somebody when you're hunting and call him a dumbass for getting in the way.
His approval ratings didn't even slouch at all. Like that just tells you the numbers are all.
But see, that's because he was Republican, and conservatives have a tendency to be loyal. My grandparents.
Loyal to each other.
Made me sick every time I saw it.
Yeah, the Bushes, they were Republicans.
I consider myself a Bush exile. But anyway, the thing about
they were on the side of people. They were still the cabal. Yeah,
they are completely the cabal. For example, W. Dumbass Jr., that's why he had his VP as a handler. Why? Because his dad was the head fucking honcho of all that shit, which is why Poppy had
he was pushing agendas.
Yep.
Okay. Poppy was taken down in the beginning, and during his funeral, everybody got letters. You're next, bitch.
You're next. And then the only reason why Bush Jr. went into Iraq was because he was pissed off because what's his name over there tried to kill his father, had an attempt on his life.
No, that's the excuse. That was a long-term plan. They wanted to take Libya. Iraq,
I do know that. I haven't heard that.
And so even though the pilots were from Saudi Arabia, but our attack was supposedly going to Afghanistan, but we had to find a reason for Iraq because Iraq was part of their fucking list, and then Hillary took out Libya in the most brutal fucking fashion possible, creating open market slave trade nowadays, where you got a football pitch, a soccer field, as some would call it, to where instead of playing soccer, they're selling slaves that come in from Mali or Malawi or wherever they catch these people from.
We're seeing
that modern day slave trade, because that's what Islam does. They propagate slavery. They permit slavery. Okay, that's what their belief system.
I think that actually is the fanatical side.
It's actually in the Quran. So, period.
I've met a lot of people that were Muslim and they never called for jihads or anything. So,
because
all the Muslim followers out there,
they're like the secular Jews. They're Muslims in name only.
Right. Well, it's the same thing. If you look at the Crusaders
here in America, right?
If you look at the Crusaders in Christianity, they were the same. The Crusaders were zealots who went over there to destroy, basically.
They break my heart. Like, I think about that time, and I'm like, well, these motherfuckers just came through and said, no, you're going to be this. Right? In a communist
look what America did. Look what America did to the Native Americans. I mean, look what happened here with the indigenous people. They came in, and they were like, who are you? Get off our land.
Dances with wolves killed me. I had just so much anger for those people because it was absurd. And yes, they did that shit. And yes, they did being that low and base of a human being. That's
they're still doing
it amongst each other.
Exactly. We're seeing it in Australia. We're seeing it in Germany. We're seeing it in Austria. We're seeing
look at Canada.
Colonizers.
Look at Canada. They just in the last 6 months in
Canada is China 2.0. Okay,
they just uncovered 2 different churches where there was mass graves of natives, where they were just taking them in and doing experiments.
You know what happened? Dude, they haven't even done it here in America.
Right? Wait till they start digging up here in America, right?
They start pulling graves up. Yeah. There's an Indian school that's like an hour north of me. It's an Indian school that they turned into a golf course and condos.
I'll bet there's a lot of bodies under there.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, they start digging up America, and they're going to be just as embarrassed as the Canadian government.
I mean, I think actually Canada gave them some. Like sometimes they didn't try to totally assimilate them,
right?
But we did. Like we were like, no, this is the way you got to believe in God, and this is our God and our Christian God.
Yeah, we took the very Roman approach.
You're a heathen.
Yeah, took a very Romanistic approach of we're conquering you. You will now convert to our gods, and they do that now. I mean, look at the Muslims; they do that. That's their ideology as well, right? Where they're doing the same thing. So, I mean, that sucks. I don't agree with it, but that's what they do.
I don't either. I don't agree with fanatical religious people. Like, Yes, there's probably in Iran. I think they do have a theology, but so do we, dude. Like, look at our
Everybody's got one.
What's connected to it right now. Like, there's so much Christianity and Christian. Like, really, we're talking about hardcore Christians. We're talking about people that are, you have a drink, you're going to hell, or
right.
Those kind of people think they're purer than everybody else and throw judgments out. And I think we need to be careful.
Shaman, I got to get you on that one, because that's basically what led me down to the fucked up reality that I currently live. Because when I was a teenager, confirmation class, 12, 13, something like that, and I would see the people sitting in church, and supposedly they're supposed to be higher and everything else, and I was sitting there and I listened. And I don't like all the showmanship and everything else. I like the sermons, because I like to go straight for the word. Everything else is just theater, but ritual. But I would sit there and I'd be listening, and I'd hear the women behind me going, "Oh my God, I can't believe that guy came in here. Do you know what he does on the weekends? And oh, I can't believe she wore that here. She couldn't be there." And I kept listening to these people on a constant basis, and I'm going, "They're holier than thou." But they're not. They got so many fucking problems. And I didn't want to be holier than thou. I didn't want to be one of those people. Now, I don't get away from God. He is my base. Without him, I have absolutely nothing. And so if I'm forced to choose between something and God, I will choose God. I will leave that something behind.
Well, what is God? I mean, we could do a whole other show on what is God.
Yeah, I know. That's a whole nother. I know.
Because I'm for God as well. Yes,
100%. But the creator,
I'm for my creator, the one who brought me here. But also remember that God, if they created everything, they created everything.
Everything, the good and the bad.
Happily, and just wants everybody to see.
That's part of God.
I got to use the restroom. I'll be right back. I'm gonna take a pee.
All right, go pee.
Sorry, go ahead, Shaman. School me, because I know that we get into these things, and y'all have different opinions than mine.
I don't ascribe. Is that the word? I don't want to say suppository, and then it be something. You know what I mean? But no, I don't.
That's already been said enough.
I think because I've done a lot of spiritual work, and learned. And that is like the judgment. There's a lot of judgment, not just from Christianity. Christianity, I think, is the one of the easiest ones to deal with. I think we deal with a lot of things from Judaism, and we deal with a lot of people in fanatical kind of thinking from Islam. We deal with it from, I would say, even the Hindus, but I haven't seen any proof of that yet. But I'm sure that comes from there too.
Kevin Cummings thing. That's exactly the thing about forgiveness. And I didn't want to necessarily get down that rabbit hole. We can get that. I just wanted to finish the point, the topic of that I didn't want to be that holier than thou person that's, like Jesus would say of some of the Sadducees, you neither allow people in and you don't go in either.
Right.
They end up being gatekeepers that they don't let anybody in, and they are not in either. I didn't want to be one of those, and which is why I started hanging around with people that were abandoned by society, that were looked down upon. Okay, so I drank. At 14, I was smoking dope. Smoking cigarettes at 14 as well. Why? Because I had to have errors so that I wouldn't think that I was better than somebody else, because I knew that I was fucked up, and that keeps me humble.
Yeah,
being a fucking junkie keeps me fucking humble. Now I got to find a way to be constructive in my life and get these bad fucking habits out. It's been 35 goddamn years. So
I know, man, smoking is a motherfucker. I know I'm a smoker.
But see, it all started for me because I didn't want to be self-righteous. I didn't want to go, oh yeah, because I don't do that, I don't do the other. No, I'm fucked up. I do fucked up shit. I'm not going to judge other people, but at the same time, I cannot allow things that are noticeably reprehensible to simply go unchecked.
No, nobody's saying that.
That's with the Maxwell case coming up right now. They are trying to
saying that evil is part of this world that we're living in.
Yeah. However, for example, Steven Crowder this morning was talking about the Maxwell case and how media is trying to normalize,
soften it up,
doing things with.
Dude, they're not even getting her on like abuse charges. They're getting her on like trafficking charges, dude. That are like not even like really. They're not even letting Virginia Dufresne and what's her name? I can't remember. They're not letting the original witnesses
Well, that's because Corny's daughter's in charge. She's not going to push anything.
I mean, yeah, but you know what? How about that pilot, though? That pilot,
he's opening his up. But the only reason that they're allowing him to speak is because but Trump was on the plane. Fine. Right. Yeah. That it doesn't matter all the other freaking sickos that are there, but let's all focus on Trump.
Come on. Now, I'm right with you on that, all that evil shit. I am. But
and we can't normalize it, accept it. And it's not being holier than thou. It's going, look, I got fucked up shit, but there's certain fucking limits, man. I mean, they're all
comes down to your conscience, man. I mean, really, don't fucking, like, I'm an anarchist at heart, dude. So I'm about, like, you doing your thing. Don't fuck with anybody else, which is a lot of fucking with everybody else right now. There's a lot of that going on, which is evil.
You fuck with my kids, I'm going to take your ass down. I don't care.
That's it.
I don't care what my penalty is. You mess with my kids, you're gone.
Right.
I'll pay life in prison, whatever the fuck.
Right.
But you mess with my kids, you will no longer be here to do that again. I fucking guarantee you.
That's good. I mean, you got to draw a line someplace because we don't before.
But that's what I'm saying.
We don't want to draw a line anywhere because it's all being judgmental.
There's no argument.
Yeah, then you're mansplaining.
Right.
I hate that.
I man spread. There's I man spread. It's different.
But I do understand, like, if the scriptures, you find peace in the scriptures.
Denise says, I just love you guys, man.
Hello, Denise.
It's mutual, Denise.
The truth is, we say the things, there was a guy in a movie in the King Arthur movie, the one that they redid with the Salmation Knights, and I forgot what his character name was, but he was from the steppes of Russia. He was part of the Rus clan, which became the Rusians. Later on, which becomes the Russians, and he would go Rus. Well, he was sitting there, and they said they were doing like we're doing, and somebody looked at him and said something, and he looks at him and says, "What? I'm only saying what everyone's thinking." Right? And he's like, "Look, I was just saying what everybody's thinking," and that is what we're all doing. Everybody's thinking it, but people aren't saying it, and then we say that out loud.
Scared to fucking say it because nobody wants to get.
That's canceled. Why this is the Piratecast. That's why this is
Skull Island. The Piratecast. That's right, baby. Right. Welcome to the Piratecast.
That's why I'm broadcasting from Brazil. So you want to cancel me? Fuck off. Find me first.
Right. We talk about certain things that are edgy on our own podcast, but I think that's what the idea was when me and Leo were talking, was let's get on there and like talk about some pirate shit. That means let's talk about shit that we could probably get canceled for, but that's why we got a whole other channel, because of this. So
well, I was doing that on Jacob's channel as well, but there's this what limits because we got into we were about 6 months in and we had tons of stuff and I got him taken down for a couple of days because I started explaining all the things inside the Jabberwhopper. And YouTube didn't like that very much. And Jacob always has to edit the videos that have me in them because of all the stupid shit that I end up saying on air. And he doesn't want
Leo's frozen. Look at him. Santa Claus.
No,
you're frozen, bro. You're frozen.
I agree with what Gil's saying. You got to get it.
No, but it's frozen in a perfect way because it was the big ass beard and that ho 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 laugh.
I know it was.
So it was fun. We should have done a print screen of that.
My wife, I must have did that first. You guys just fine. Sorry about
you might have to pop out and pop back in, Leo, because your batteries you're starting to get robotic again. But Aaron and I got this for about the 10 seconds it would take you to do that. Not a problem.
Sign off, sign back in. Just refresh.
There you go.
No, you're still frozen.
Still frozen.
Now you look like the Unabomber, dude.
Ooh. The problem is that I like Kaczynski. Ted Kaczynski was actually.
I don't like what he did, but I do like. No, I shouldn't even say like. No. I get it. I understand.
Yeah. See.
I understand where he was coming from. He was just
exactly.
a psychopath.
See, I try and tell people on a constant basis, it's not what's done to you; it's what you do as a result of that. He saw all the bad that was going on. He already moved into the forest, got away from society, but then he felt like he had to do something about it, and that action is what was his undoing. Now, he was extremely smart, and he got away with it for a very long time. Who turned him in? His brother recognized his voice.
Yeah.
All right, how am I doing now? Do I look better? Do I sound better or no?
You're gorgeous, Leo.
Is the camera working and everything now?
Oh, I don't know.
It looked clean, bro. It looked clean. I know. You know what, StreamYard, y'all? Come on, help us out. You keep kicking us out. I don't know why, but I do that.
I was saying before you guys said I was frozen and you couldn't hear me, and so I dumped a bunch of shit out of my memory to see if it was getting better. Is it better now? My signal?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I had a whole bunch of shit open on my tray, and I had another window open. So I closed everything out, and now I'm doing better. So you're right. It was the RAM. It was the memory on my phone. I was using too much RAM. Yeah.
It's the cache. We're on 2 hours. You noticed that it happened at the end of the first hour too.
Yeah, it did.
So you got about an hour worth of cache in there, and then you got to keep emptying it out.
The problem is I don't notice, and then like something will happen, and somebody will say something in one of my apps, and those apps open up to give you the notification, and that burns up my RAM. So I just looked up when you said that, and I went, oh shit, there's like 18 things open. Close. And I'm like, what's this other window? Facebook. I don't need Facebook open. Close.
So y'all, I think I'm going to let you go, but we need to. I'm going to create a channel, or I'm going to have Leo create the channel because Leo's got the most.
Another thing, you're a graphic designer. I'm
not a graphic designer, but I'm going to design shit graphically.
That's where I got the association from.
You know, when somebody says, hey,
I need a logo for my channel.
I can play the harmonica, but I'm not a harmonica player.
All
right.
I need a monochrome logo for my channel using my mountains in some way.
All right. What do you use? StreamYard?
Do what?
Do you use StreamYard?
I use StreamYard whenever I'm doing groups.
We'll get together, man. Just send me a message and we'll see what's up.
Perfect.
I'll help you out.
Will do. All right, man. Thanks.
All right, guys. Thank you, pirates.
Right.
Yo,
ahoy!
Aaron, before you go, make a logo so we can change out my logo. Yes. Orion Rising's up there. We need that out.
Yeah.
And we need to have our logo up there.
I'm gonna make one this week. So what day is it? Fucking Wednesday?
Today's Wednesday. Today's Wednesday, bro.
We'll do it Wednesday night.
The week is halfway gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Wednesday. So yeah, and we're doing it Wednesday night, right? So we'll be doing it 4 p.m. Our time. Actually, I think you're the only one. I think Miguel and I are both on the same timeline. But I think you're an hour ahead.
There's 5 hours difference, man.
It's just an hour, dude.
Or are you different from me? 5 hours?
I'm an hour. I'm now with the daylight savings time. I'm 2 hours ahead of Eastern time.
Oh, okay. Because I'm at 6:10.
Right?
Yeah, right now it's 11
Mountain Standard Time.
So we got 6:10 to 11. Oh shit, that's what, 7 hours?
7 hours. Yes, because I'm at 10 minutes after 6, and you're at what, 11? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 5 hours. And then Aaron, you're at what, 7:10 right now?
I'm at it is 7:10.
Yeah, so you're 1 hour ahead of me. And Miguel, you're 5 hours.
He's Mountain Time, so he's only an hour ahead of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas I was an hour ahead of Eastern, but now you guys pushed your clock back, so I'm 2 hours ahead of Eastern.
You're 2 hours. Yeah.
So look out for that. If y'all have any ideas, send us some messages about shows and what you want, the topics you want us to cover. I mean, please. We'll probably create like some kind of group where everybody can just kind of, help with work. This is
right.
I hope this is, my hope is it gets big and we have a lot of fun and we talk about real shit and we can it's almost like therapy, right? It's almost like,
my hope is to help people
100%.
Right? No joke.
Well, that's what pirates always did, right? Pirates always helped everybody.
Yep.
Help themselves through everybody's stuff.
Hey, we find an empty ship. I mean, if it's empty after we've been there, I mean, what? It's empty. Like nobody was selling it.
Peter's over
we're just taking the loot. I mean,
Peter's over in Ireland, and he says, because we're talking about where we are, it's Wednesday. He says, "I'm in Thursday."
Yeah, he is in Thursday.
He is in Thursday in Ireland.
Early, dude.
Oh, fuck!
It's like 5:30 or 6:30 in the morning for him right now.
No more caffeinated coffee, dude. You're getting too old for that shit. It'll make you.
Pete never sleep. Pete doesn't sleep. He's up all the time. When he does sleep, every now and then he nods off, and then usually one of our dumbasses calls him and scare him. And he goes, "Oh shit, I was asleep right then."
I'm gonna call him out right now. He was on the movie Vikings. He was in that movie or that series.
Yeah, he was. He was in Vikings. He was in every episode, and he was on camera almost every scene. He was also in the movie Braveheart.
He gets his little ass in there wherever he can, dude. I mean, shit.
Yeah, smart, right? Well, he was actually his character.
He's like, hey, it's not your close up right now. He's like,
in that show on History Channel in Vikings, his character was actually a big character that they never finished before they ended up changing and ending the season or ending the show. Because you remember the guy who was the Oracle who was blind?
Yeah.
He was that Oracle was aging in an opposite direction of people, and what you guys didn't realize is the backstory with that was Peter when he was old. And if you look, Peter is also there when he's younger. So his younger self was outside. Whenever they talked to the Oracle, they always showed the Oracle and the door. And if you watch the door, he told me this. If you watch the door, you see Peter walk by the door. He's circling the hut. Every time that the dude's talking, he's circling the hut. And it was supposed to be that way because they were going to eventually let you in on the fact that he is the Oracle. That Peter's character was the Oracle, and they were existing in the same timeline, one old and one young. And this one was becoming that one, and that one was becoming this one. So the whole thing was they were doing this whole infinity thing with them, and then no one was understanding the plot, so they kind of dropped it. But that was what the whole thing was about with him. So he did all the shots.
He actually got his ass so noticed that he had the writers writing him in. Like, that's Pete. That's Pete.
That's what I'm saying.
I can see it. Like,
isn't that badass?
And he's
I still noticed that the writer was writing in for him.
That's all. Yeah. That's all. That's the ingredients for the recipe for acting, right? For getting on screen. Like Pete has a.
Yeah, I'm trying to get as much screen time as I can. I wanted to give a shout out. Yeah, Jacob, I was talking about you having to edit the videos with me because I'm a pain in the ass when I'm somebody's show. So yeah, shout out to Jake. 6 months, fucking awesome. Great fam. Tony, we need a place that doesn't care what we have to say. That would be Rumble. The only thing is that Rumble actually charges you to go live. So that's a whole nother. I've got
that's why I stopped. That's why I only post there because they charge you to go live there. Yeah.
Well, come on. Come on.
But whenever I actually tape and then have my own tape, then I transfer it over to Rumble. I haven't lately. Because I've been using StreamYard and I don't have access to the original files to be able to transfer them over there. And I think there's maybe 3 videos.
StreamYard's not ready for it yet. I've already tried.
You what?
I've already tried. StreamYard isn't ready for that shit yet.
I got an email on Black Friday saying the new version is going to allow that as well.
If you're paying for StreamYard when you do your show, Aaron, afterwards, if you before you go off air, if you look up where it says share, if you click on that, you actually have the file, MP4 and MP3 file, for you to download.
Oh, and we have an Ademir Carlos, which is in the chat. He's from Brazil. He's a friend of mine that usually shows up here for beers. He was going to come over today for some beers, but my back's killing me and I'm fucking exhausted. So yeah, no beers tonight so far. But so he jumped into the chat because I told him I was on. So shout out to Junior there as well. So
shout out to Tony. Shout out to Peter. Shout out to Jacob Waters. Shout out to Jackson. Y'all are just like hooking.
Ariel the Mermaid was all over the place there as well. Denise,
Norma,
Tony Jackson, so much stuff.
Yep.
Denise.
Yep.
All good folks.
You're all pirates now. You're all pirates.
We're all pirates. Jake was talking about they now have a co-host feature on StreamYard. So wait,
I'll have to look at that and make sure because you weren't able to do that.
You want to compare?
I'll have to look at that. Oh, look at that. You guys both got like that, and I actually have a talking stick.
This is a make them stop talking stick. This is a make them stop.
Oh my god! Okay, that sounds really gay when we all pull out our swords, dude. That's not good. Hold on.
When we do what?
I thought about that for a second. Dude.
Oh fuck, we're sword fighting. Holy shit.
My god! Dude, pulling out our sword. Oh my god!
I have this is a half a claymore, guys. Claymore is 6 feet. This is a half a claymore.
Well, you guys are in California, so it makes fucking sense.
All right, y'all. I love you guys. I'll talk to you next week. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much, Shaman. Appreciate you, Aaron. Much love.
Much love,
Aaron,
guys.
have a good day, brother.
All right. And Julie has Chihuahuas. Okay. I don't know what the I don't know what the Chihuahuas is about, but I'll have to catch up on
Sorry
that.
about that. I had to. That sword is actually hanging on the wall right here, and so I was actually putting it back up on the wall.
Because you're a druid.
I have like 8 more swords in the closet.
Tony actually asked earlier in the chat if those were actually runes on your shirt, because I don't think he was here when you, in the very beginning of the show, you were explaining the runes because you are
this
fluid.
Right here, Tony. This is actual runes. This is Futhark, and it's modern Swedish Futhark, and this actually says Grimfrost. It's actually a world Viking clan. And this is the symbol on my back is a huge one, and it says Grimfrost the same way. These are modern Viking runes, not the elder Futhark, but the modern Swedish Futhark. And it's written in English, but it literally says Grimfrost, and that's their symbol for the world Viking clan. I literally belong to the MacNeil clan. Out of Scotland and Ireland, well, actually O'Neill in Ireland, but in Scotland there isn't one, and so it's MacNeil, but it's still the same family. Both Mac and O means son of or bloodline of basically. So, but I learned how to read Futhark, and I can read. Probably there's 25 different versions. I think I can figure out almost all of them fluently. But if you write in like say Swedish with the Futhark, then I'm not so good because my Svenska isn't as great. But this was actually written in English, even though they speak Svenska, right? And mine's not really good, but Svenska is very similar to English anyways. Most of the languages are. But yes, those are Viking runes, but it says Grimfrost. Grimfrost, sorry, that way, Grimfrost.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So we're caught up. An awesome gathering of minds. This is a good day, and you set up a good lineup, Leo. Much appreciative. We can talk about so much different stuff and so many different things, and that's a big opportunity.
A great gathering of minds with us, with you guys out there.
You guys in the chat, you guys are helping us as well. I mean, some of the stuff coming out of Denise and Julie and Tony, they've been hitting on some of those cylinders as well, and elevating the conversation and that sort of thing. So next week, this week I have invoicing and shit that I got to do, but one of the next videos that I want to make is on the Maslow pyramid to sort of explain those colors, so that there's a base to where whenever I'm explaining to somebody and they go, "What are you talking about?" "Oh, watch my video. I already explained." And that should be able to help them, because there are things that are that I learned in researching for my book. And those things just sort of accumulate, and I'm trying to integrate them into life. Why? Because I would be a hypocrite if I write a book and haven't benefited from it. So I'd be talking about finding our higher selves and being at peace in our own destiny, but yet I'm all anxious and antsy because I haven't found my own blue. So, how can I tell people, "Oh, read my book so you can be more successful," if I'm a freaking blithering broke idiot? So I try not to be hypocritical, which means that I need to implement my book before I can actually write it, because otherwise I'm just a lying sack of shit. Or I did a bunch of fucking research, which is useless because I didn't use it. So it's things that we need to implement, that I need to implement into my own reality, so that I can show to others, hey, this shit really does work. Now, have I been experimenting my book on other people? Yeah, that's one of the reasons why Junior comes over so often, because I've been talking to him. He always came over during the COVID. And so, I'm always talking about God in my book and that sort of stuff. And so it's been a learning phase for him, and he enjoys the lessons and that sort of stuff. So, I'm blessed to have some of the people in my life that have been able to absorb and listen to what I'm talking about. And I've seen people get better and people grow. And Junior's implementing some of the stuff that I told him. It wasn't necessarily associated with my book, but it's the stories that I tell him. about different things he listens and he starts to implement. And that's interesting. I didn't think I could actually have that kind of an impact on people. Why? Because people usually shut down whenever I start to fucking talk or ramble or whatever, because I'm too far gone, because I'm not what society expects, because I'm not what, people demand of others to be. And I never have been, because when I was 14, I basically told society, big old F you. And when I was 18, society gave me a big old F you back. And then when I was 25, the universe gave me a big old fucking U-turn. So yeah, I rejected society, and now I'm living in my own little forest in the south of fucking Brazil. So yeah. Absolutely.
Right. Agreed. And that's what happens. And that's why, like, you have to, you get shadow banned. Stephen and Evan Strong were talking about that, how, a year ago or more, they would pick up on YouTube and Facebook thousands of people and they haven't done anything to change. Now they pick up 20, 30, 50, 100. Same thing happened to me. And it wasn't because my ratings went down. The same people were coming and the same people are there. And it's showing my numbers are less. And I'm going, okay, what, am I talking about shit people don't want to hear? And that's not true. Everybody wants to hear about what I'm talking about. I have a good audience. When I post off of YouTube and Facebook, all of a sudden I get hundreds and thousands of hits. My MP3 file broadcast gets more hits than my MP4 now, because I broadcast on Facebook and YouTube, and I get about 25 if I'm lucky on Facebook or on YouTube, and I get about 150 on Facebook. When, if you look back, my videos were getting, like 1,500 people live every time I was going live, no matter what I talked about. And now I talk about the same stuff and it tapers off. And it's because of being shadow banned. I'm torqued down and I can't, it doesn't matter how many people come and watch it live. Well, the numbers still don't reflect after the show is done. You know what I mean?
But in the end, the point is getting it out and making that contact. And I just want to give a thank you to Julie. I appreciate that.
She gave you a good compliment there. Did you see that?
Yeah, because
that's so wrong, Miguel. You seem to be a very level-headed and secure anyway to me.
No. Hold on. You seem very level-minded and squared away.
Oh, and squared away. Thank you. See, I got to use my my bifocals. I normally don't have that.
I noticed that last Wednesday, and so this time I thought I'd tap in.
Right. If I take these off and I just run with these, and I'm fine. Just run with those.
Can't see me on the screen.
Not right. So I can read perfectly, but everybody else is blurry. So if I don't care whether I can see
you don't need to see my ugly ass.
Right, that's what helps. You don't need to see my ugly mug, right? There's other people you could be looking at. So I do this. I'm absolutely fine, and I can read out every word perfectly. But then when I look back over here, it's kind of blurry, and worse when I'm looking at the other camera. But I'm trying to get used to these, because for the first time I decided to let them go ahead and give me bifocals. So now I got to do this all the time. I got to look like an older man.
Your nose, Santa.
Look up my nose, Santa.
What's up your nose, Santa Claus? All right. Tony said
make sure my nose hairs are trimmed.
The Tony had it one after that, so it's
he's talking about but for your spiritual advanced Georgian, what is it, Georginas. We don't have enough time in the world to talk and share, laugh out loud. But yeah, we could do it all day, all night. We still don't have enough time. But time is really relative, right?
We have a couple of times. Some of your
absolutely right.
Some of your longest podcasts have been with me. Thank you very much. I feel honored, Leo. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to get
now. Omar is responding to talking about being shadow banned. Same here. That's why I left Facebook, because he was being shadow banned. Toned down to, and he knows he had more than 1,000 people watching. And then when you look back at it, they're like, oh, you had 65 people. He's like, dude, I was watching the numbers. I know how many people were live per second. Right. And then I go afterwards and there's like 60 views. There was more than 60 people in here.
They throw. Yeah. All they know how to do is lie. I'm going to grab some water. I'll be right back.
Cool. All right. So, guys, I agree with 100%. I mean, look at that, right? It's true. They are doing that, and I've known that. And now Stephen and Evan said that when I was talking to them on the weekend, And I was like, I thought I was like getting a complex, and they're like, no, we're the same way. Even on YouTube, they're going out, and now they fired Dorsey. Did you guys hear about that? Jack Dorsey's out, but the problem is the person that's in is more conservative, or not more conservative, but more left wing radical than Jack Dorsey. Is that fucking possible? Is that possible? So Dorsey's out, and they got somebody new, right? But this one's even worse. So we'll see what's happening there. I think their death rolls they're concerned that the Republicans, if they do gain control, there's still enough that are not cabal that will actually try and do something to disrupt, and if not dismantle, this complete monopoly of the airwaves. And so now they're worried, and they're trying to get around that and kill everybody off before they can have anything to handle that or stop them from doing it. So we'll see what happens. Go ahead, bro.
That's actually part of devolution. That's one of the things that I started my Tuesday broadcasts about. Why? Because we are relatively at the end stages of World War III, and shit's going to get hairy. One of the objectives was to show people just how deceitful and lying the media and the controllers are, at what levels they will do. And so we got left leaning, but they're justified. But no, you can never justify, because the only reason that these asshats have a fucking seat and have their voice more powerful to where, nothing that was before can continue, because, we're all racist bastards, and fuck all of us, because, the lesser motherfuckers that make up 5% of the population should be in charge of everybody.
Right. Just ask them, they'll tell you. Yeah.
So they needed free speech, but whenever they've got the power, no more free speech for you. And the guy who's now in charge of Twitter, because the other guy's a pedo son of a bitch, and he's going to go to fuck down. And so whenever Maxwell got on there, he knew his time was up, because his list came out on those FAA reports. So Jack Dorsey, shout out to you, fucking sack of shit.
But finger for Jack Dorsey.
And I got 2 fucking fingers for the Indian motherfucker who's coming over, thinking he can
the guy who's coming in.
Because India doesn't have any free speech.
Right.
But guess what, bitch? You're not in an Indian fucking company. So but that's part of devolution. They're going to be taking all that shit down. Why? Because they all got to fall. But see, that's what Revelation talked about. All that we're already there.
Yeah,
we are in the end stages of Revelation.
I agree with that 100%. Especially since going back and reading the Gnostic Gospels and the other scriptures, I started realizing I understood way, way fucking more than I ever have with the scriptures. And I'm like, oh crap, I shouldn't be knowing this, because if I know this and I'm translating this, then we're in the fucking end times, man. Mm-hmm. And then I went to other people, and I'm like, do you understand them? Have you read them lately? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like,
well, I read them years ago, and I think they said something, but I don't know. I got bored, and I didn't make sense of it, so I just forgot about it. It doesn't mean anything.
Try reading them again today.
It's just an old book. I mean, why are we listening to an old book? I mean, that was 2,000 years, 5,000 years ago. It's meaningless now. We have so much more information now than what we did back then.
Yeah. Dude, go back and read those. And if you don't understand them, then you're not quite awake enough yet. But I'm telling you, I'm reading these things, and I'm going, I never saw this in here before. I'm understanding.
It was there, but you didn't notice it because it wasn't important enough for you to notice at that time, or
it wasn't ready.
For you to actually understand it.
Yeah, I didn't have the reference point, and now we do. So if this is the end times, like they're saying, well, now I'm able to translate this stuff. When I couldn't 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I read them, and they were really mystical. But now it's so freaking clear that I'm like, how could I have not understood these words before? But they were locked up away from my eyes, because my eyes and my brain, I wasn't ready.
But that's the thing. They will have eyes to hear, the eyes to see, but they will not see. They will have ears to hear, but they will not hear. Why? Right. Because the word is hidden from them.
Right. And that, I just read that. I just read that. That's the Tao Te Ching. I talked about that last week. And that's exactly that's the way. That's what it means, the book of the way. And he said that. I can't read it to you now because it's on my phone.
Yeah, you're on your cell phone.
Yeah. So I can't read it to you. But Tony was alluding to that when I read it on the air last week. on Friday, and then on Wednesday, and he was like, "That's the Tao Te Ching," and I'm like, "Yeah," and that literally translates to the Book of the Way, and that was written in the year 604 by Tao Chi, a Chinese philosopher, 600 years before Jesus Christ was even born, and it was the same message that Jesus was teaching when Jesus got here.
Why? Because the Creator was here well before any of them were born.
Yes, thank you. So that's why the storyline was still the same, and Jesus came to say, "Look, guys, everything that you thought is what I've been telling you." So that message that you guys are reading from before came from you know who, and I'm not
the source.
When I'm being Jesus by saying that to you.
Because the message came from the source, because He and the Father are one.
Exactly.
I wanted to get into, first of all, Jackson made a question, and my answer would be yes. To which one? Both.
Right.
But I wanted to highlight Ginger's comment, or still reading through it.
Yes, agreed. I was going to highlight it, and it's long. But
highlight Tony's question, and then we'll switch.
The one before or the one after? Where I'm not great with politics. Or the one after that?
Yeah.
The one between you two. Do you
believe we have a global climate crisis being caused by mankind, or that it is a control tool with a hidden agenda? The answer is yes.
Yes.
Has man had an effect on the planet? Yes.
Yes.
Is it something that's going to destroy everything? Eventually, because we're destructive motherfuckers. Is there anything that we can necessarily do about it? No, because we've also got Nibiru, and we've got Venus heating up. We got Mars heating up. We got Neptune heating up. So it's not just us. It's an electromagnetic surge that's happening in our region. Now, are they using this to be able to create a fear-mongering reality and exert more control? Yes, absolutely. So it's more of fear porn and controlling of the population than anything else. But has man destroyed many parts of the planet? Yes, we have an island the size of Texas in the middle of the Pacific made of all our garbage plastic.
And that's just one of 7.
There's 7 of those islands?
All over, in each ocean, there's one. And they're all the same size. And that I did a documentary on this. You guys can go back and watch it, where I actually showed the good thing. There's 2 really large companies. 4Ocean is one here in America, and there's another one from Denmark, and I can't think of the name. That was the bigger one. And they're the one that actually made the big barges that float out there with they used basically the idea of a waddle. I don't know if you know what that is, where you have this, you take the hay and they put it in a net, and it's big, long thing. They put it in construction site to keep all the dust and dirt out, but it lets the water run through. They made a version of that to catch the plastic, and it all goes into and on board this barge, and then another ship comes and offloads all the shit off the barge and floats away, and those sit out there and float with the currents, and they clean the ocean while they do it, and they designed those. And I show when they sailed out from San Francisco Bay to take one out to the Pacific. It's a couple years ago now. So we're actually cleaning the water because
16-year-old that invented that shit.
Yes, he was like 16 when he invented it, and he got the billion or the $3 million they needed to start it. And now they're recycling the plastic, so it's paying for itself. The guys at 4Ocean are doing the same thing, recycling the plastic.
Aren't they making like little?
I have 2. I don't have them on right now, but I have 2 that I bought.
Like $5 or $10 to them, and they give you a bracelet from them.
You give them $20, they give you a bracelet, and that $20 pays for another bracelet, another pound of plastic to take it out, or pays for 2 pounds. So you buy 1 pound of plastic and wear it, and you pay for 2 more pounds to be brought out and then sold to someone else, and it pays for the adventure. I had 2. I still have them. They're just not on me. I think I gave one to my sister, and I have one that I'm just not wearing now, but I usually wear it. And it's a pound of plastic that came out of the Pacific Ocean. So you guys should look into that, because as of 3 years ago, but it's now changing because we're fixing it, they said that if we do nothing, there will be more plastic in the oceans of the entire planet than there are anything else except water.
No, actually, we are in a serious problem because they are finding microplastic in children, infants.
In all of us now. It's in our food chain. It's in our water source.
Yeah.
It's in our food chain. Fish are eating it. The birds are eating it. The animals are eating it. It's in our source. They don't know what it's going to do to us eventually, but they do know that in history, we're going to be referred to as the plastic era. Where you have the Bronze Age, we're going to be the plastic age.
No, it's going to be the mass extinction age.
You might be right about that. Well, The only way that works is if the temporal war goes to the AI god, because then they lower the people to what they talked about with CR Christian or whatever his name, RJ Christian, where you only have about 650,000 people.
No.
That happens.
500 million in equilibrium with the planet.
Is that what it is?
That's in Georgia.
Right. That's what they want to do. That's what they want to do if they gain total control to lower the population.
They do. And what do you think? What do you think this whole last 2 years we've been going through? That's exactly what they're fucking doing.
That's what they're working on.
All those motherfuckers want. They are sick of those motherfuckers. It is the Nazi freaking gas chambers, but it's open air, and we're volunteering to do it. So that's one of the reasons for my channel yesterday, is to find out how are they going to get these motherfuckers out of there, because they're trying to kill everybody.
Right. Truth. Every way they can. Absolutely.
Every way they can. And while they're at it, their little demons are sucking energy from us, using the fear porn. Why? Because they feed off our energy. They feed off our fear and anger and jealousy and destruction.
I was just talking to somebody about that. There's two kinds of energy vampires out there. There is those people who live off the fear, like you just said, and then there's people who live off your aura. That's what they call loosh. Okay, if you hear that term, loosh, that's the energy, that's your aura that they take from you. And the energy vampires suck your aura right off of you, and it hurts your body, damages you. Then the other part of loosh is the part where you're living in fear and anxiety, and they suck that energy and use that as food. So the Draco do that, and then there's humans and other races that are energy vampires, and that they suck energy from you, take your aura. And the only way you can get your aura back is to have like a rose petal bath, because rose oil and rose, the scent, helps us replenish our aura because of what it does. Like sage purifies us, rose helps your aura and your body readjust, and all of your chakras rebalance. That's why people love to take a rose oil bath or a rose scented bath and smell of rose.
I'm gonna have to get some roses going then.
Holy shit. Seriously, that's no joke. It actually works. I've been telling people this if people didn't know what an energy vampire was 27 years ago. I was telling people what an energy vampire was. The actual vampires from history evolved. There is still some people that drink blood, but not like before where they would suck your blood out and drink it. They evolved because what they were trying to get out of it was the hemoglobin, the energy they were trying to get out of you. So it was your aura is more important. And people always thought that it was the blood that they were trying to get from you, and it wasn't your blood, it was your aura, which is the essence of your blood.
Well, actually, we've got the cabal doing this shit now to where they've actually figured out a way to concentrate that energy into the adrenal glands and create substances that make them feel euphoric, like the founder of Facebook, Zuckerberg. He actually wrote that it was the best high that he's ever had. The way that they,
but that's adrenal crop, right?
I didn't want to say the name, but yes.
Now that's the adrenaline.
He was talking about the way they produce it is slightly disturbing, but it's such a wonderful drug. It's like, okay, you should stop at the way they're producing. Period.
Yeah,
that shit, you can't. They're energy fucking vampires.
Yes, agreed.
The salt bath, especially when it's rock salt, those are really great for loosening up the skin and everything else whenever we're tight. I hadn't thought about the rose oil, but I haven't taken a bath in freaking ages. It's always showers.
Right, I know. I'm the same way, because the negative ions in the water droplets do the same. It charges you, but it doesn't give your aura any kick boost. But you get a lot of energy.
I got instead of a bathtub, I got a 2-person jacuzzi, and it just consumes too much water. And so I'm a tight-fisted little guy, so I don't spend that much water in order to sit in a jacuzzi. I was 25, and I had dreams of doing certain things, and I thought my house was going to be differently used than what it was, but it's all there. I've got the infrastructure for all the different possibilities. I was a brilliant motherfucker 20 years ago. Now I don't know so much, but right.
So when you're younger, you think you know everything and you're brilliant, and then you wake up one day and realize you don't really know that much. You just thought you did.
Well, I did. I actually knew a lot more. I mean, I usually tell people I forget more than most people actually learn.
Right.
There's lots of stuff that I stopped using after I came into this reality that sort of faded away. the fact that, for example, right here is one immediate example right there. That's me before I came here. Why?
I have a
Because
picture like that.
I was always in a suit, tie, everything else, because that's what I do.
Yep. I was the same way when I was in retail. I wore a suit and tie every day for 15 years. And then when I was starting my own company and investing, I didn't have the jacket on, but I had the shirt and the tie. And I wore that all the way up till 2016. And then I started wearing shorts, tank tops, flip-flops. I lived in Arizona. It was hot. I wasn't dressing in a shirt and
that's my life.
Anymore. Yeah. I still have over here. I have
right now.
the closet. I still have ties. I still See, I still have ties. I still have black. I still have shirts, sport coats. Right.
My flip flops are starting to crack.
You're like, hey, crap! I got to get new flip flops. I wore these out.
I got to get new flip flops. Holy shit. Yeah, but I'm in the country of Havaianas. So yes, absolutely. Flip flops are good, and I feel. Answering Denise's question that I look younger today. I don't know, maybe because I look like a freaking lost teenager, dressing down. Maybe, it's the baseball cap. Because there's no gray in that beard. There's no gray in that beard or in that hair.
Right. Mine went gray when I turned 45. I dropped I have a little bit of color, not much, but it went white when I turned 45.
My dad started going gray before 30. I started going gray around 33, little by little. And the first bone that ever broke, I was 35. I broke my thumb, the last training before a championship game. And so I had to actually referee that championship game, and it pissed me off because I could have been playing. And all the people that were there, they knew me as a quarterback, a safety, as a linebacker, strong, and a wide receiver or tight end, because I did everything on the field. We had an Ironman team. We had 13 people. We played both sides of the ball. Anyway, so I'd be, whistling, I'd be reffing the game, and these guys would toss me the ball because you tossed the ball to a ref. And I'm like, dude, if I could catch that damn thing, I'd be playing, motherfucker. Don't throw the ball at me. But they see me and they throw the ball because I always catch, and I'm always drilling that thing right into their chest. So everybody always threw the ball at me, and I'm like, no, not today. I can't.
Not today, right? Not today. Jeez,
broke my fucking hand. We were training on basically dry dirt, and I made a cut, and my foot slipped. It was the last play. Training had already ended. I just wanted a couple more plays to get those hands in and get that right, because it was a championship game. And I slipped, and as I went down, instead of supporting on my hand, I landed on my thumb, and it just went crack.
Yep.
And it hurt, but yeah, things hurt all the time. And so I started grabbing the ball. Fuck, it wasn't this hand, it was this hand, because I'm left-handed, and that's right. I grabbed the ball to try and pass, and I couldn't make I couldn't put the pressure on the ball to be able to pass it. It just hurt. I couldn't put the pressure on the ball, and then I knew something was wrong. I went to the doctor that same day and find out that I had a fracture, and there's so many bones in the hand, especially here, that man, it was just. But anyway, that's when I knew I started getting old. And then the following year, I tackled or pushed somebody out of bounds because he was too damn big to tackle. But he had gotten past everybody else on the team, and I got him before he got a first down. And if he would have gotten past me, he would have gotten a touchdown. But when I did, I felt my arm go numb. And so I got a massage. The trainers gave me a massage, and I was able to feel my arm again. And I went back in to finish the game. But that was my last game because I went to get MRIs and everything else and found out that I've got 2 herniated discs on this side and 1 herniated disc on this side. And, if I continued taking – because I played without pads. 10 years playing without pads down here. Full contact, not rugby, American football, full contact football with no pads. So yeah, things happen.
That's crazy.
Lots of memories, lots of fucking memories.
Yeah. For me, I was in college and I was actually playing tight end, and I was going across the middle like the tight end always does. So you're going to get hit, you're going to get killed, you're going to get leveled. I had long hair, and one guy grabbed my ponytail to tackle me, and he ended up with my scrunchie and some hair in the scrunchie. And I get up after that, and he hands it back to me, and I'm like, "What are you doing pulling my hair?" He says, "It was sticking out." So during that game, right, I had to put my ponytail back on with a scrunchie, but he ended up with it in his hand. Then they ripped my jersey, and I had a necklace on with a cross on it. That came off. The referee picked it up and handed it back to me. Then after that, I should have stopped playing. After that, I'm going across the middle, and it was raining. It was wet. It was slippery, but the grass was in some places really good. In other places, it was a pit. And I'm running across the middle, and I cut to the right, and I catch the ball. And was I going the other way? No, I was going the other way. I was going
you were running over the middle. That's what tight ends do. And you went right into traffic, and you landed right in the shoulder of
left.
You caught the ball right in the shoulder of the linebacker.
This guy crashed, middle linebacker crashed into me on the side of me. And when he did, he grabbed my pads front and back, here and there, grabbed them, and he slammed his body into me, and he was trying to get me to go down, and my cleat stuck in the ground, and my foot didn't move, and his body weight from his knees crashed into my knee, and I ended up with my leg bent like this at the knee, and I tore my ACL completely off. And I didn't realize it, and I finished the game, and every third or fourth step, my kneecap and my leg would pop out, and I'd have to pop it back in. So by the time I ended up going and have the surgery and rehabbing from the surgery, that was the end of my football career, because they reinfused it, but they said, you know, the orthopedics then, we're talking about the 80s, weren't as good as they were in the 90s and the 2000s. Now you have that happen, and you're back playing in a couple of months. Back then it was career ending. And my brother, on the same day, came in. We were playing against him. He came in as a running back, and they ran a sweep, and this happened just before my injury. He ran a pitch. They pitched to him, and he went to our right side, and I was playing defense. And my buddy, who's a friend of mine, who is still friends with me, Steve Kramer, he just made a comment about my beard yesterday. He pulled up and was faster than me and headed straight down the line, and I took the angle in case my brother got around the corner. I'd cut him off and knock him out of bounds. He hit my brother low, because my brother is bigger than me. He's like 6'5", 6'3", and Steve was only like 5'7", so he hit my brother's legs. And when he did, my brother went up in the air, flipped over, and came down, landed on his spine with his legs going this way and his body going that way. And he was in a chiropractor for 15 years after it. And he had herniated a couple of discs, and he'd never played football again. Both of us on the same day ended our chances for ever going pro in the NFL because of our injuries. Isn't that crazy? I walked with a cane. I still supposed to have one because I have a gimp because of it. And my brother is still going to a chiropractor to keep straightening his spine slowly and slowly. Isn't that crazy? And he's 53, 52. So we were done. Could have been a contender. College ball done. Isn't that crazy, bro?
Yeah.
So I feel you, but your injury was far worse and probably far more painful, especially in the neck, having a hernia. To have a problem with the knee and have it fixed is nothing, because I looked at my brother, who had maybe half the issue you had, and his was down low, and you had it up here. My God, you had to have been in pain.
It's a bothersome thing. I have to sleep with my head in a certain level. Otherwise, it really gets bad, and I can't handle that shit.
I know you mentioned earlier that you're having problems today with your back.
No, well, today the back is sitting in this position and crunched over, and I'm stressed out because I was working all fucking day, and so that stress just accumulates in my back, and it's a thing.
He says, "I'm surprised you guys aren't in full body cast." Sometimes I'm surprised too.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, I had a friend of mine in high school. Now, you were talking about somebody ripping your cross off. I lost 2 of my crosses during football training. So yeah, I learned to not have anything on. That was 1. 2, the fact that I forgot where I was going. Oh, the knees. I had a friend of mine, really good linebacker, and he actually played for Washington, University of Washington later on. That's full scholarship. But he was wearing 2 full steel knee braces on both knees, and he got crunched sideways. And the doctor told him if he didn't have those knee braces, his knees would be gone.
Been done.
So when you talked about him grabbing your shoulders and your cleats sticking, I could already feel that knee. And my knees are shot because of football. And I feel, for example, right now, my knees is just because where I'm at, my foot is slightly off And so I sit in that position for hours on end. Later on, my knee, I'm just feeling it. So I have to bring it up and keep it in a position to where it'll try and heal itself.
Well, I don't know if you noticed when I got up to go pee, but my arthritis is so bad that when I'm sitting here, my knees start to swell because of, again, like you're saying, the way they're bent to sit in this position. I'll get up and I have to get up and I have to stand and actually go and get the knees back, being able to stand up. And it hurts for the first like 5 or 6 steps. My arthritis is just killing me. And then eventually it's weird because it hurts in both knees as if like the knees were just in horrible pain. And then 5 or 6 steps later, literally one of them or both will pop. And then all of a sudden, no pain as long as I'm moving. But when I stand still because I have no more cartilage and it's bone against bone, that's when it starts to hurt. But if I keep moving and walking, only the impact. And I've learned, you have to, you know this, you learn how to walk so where you're not hitting your knees really hard. You're taking more of the weight in your pelvis and your shoulders when you step, which is still not good, but it relieves a little bit of pain from one area, but then usually transfers to another, right? I'm sure you know that with your neck. Step the wrong way and you go, that hurt up here.
Yeah. But usually my pain stops at my knees because that stuff is just, knees are a bitch, man. And once you lose your knees, you really feel it because you can't do half the shit that you want to do anymore. I stopped playing soccer because I couldn't keep up, 1, because I'm getting too fucking old, and 2, my knees were just too much. And so I couldn't keep running for an hour straight. And I'm not one to be in a competitive sport and not be able to compete. So, that just, but I retired from soccer this year, and now I got to find something else because I used to play tennis and football and soccer. So I'd be playing football on the weekends, soccer twice a week. So I was always active, and now I continue to smoke, I continue to drink, but I'm not doing the exercise that cleans out my system and eliminates all that stuff. So if I retired from the good things that I was doing, I need to also retire from the bad things that I was trying to compensate.
Right.
So now the bad shit's just accumulating because I'm,
Well, I still drink, I still smoke pot, but I work out. Right. I don't do as much cardio as I should, but I lift weights and I do like, calisthenics, and I do that stuff, and I walk, and I'm constantly trying to work on that because I didn't either for a long time. Right. And you got to start and get back into it. I used to work out so much I was addicted to it. But then again, we talked about addiction. Everything is an addiction. But I was addicted to it. And I worked out every single day. It would just go from one day I worked out the upper body, the next day the midsection, the next day the legs, and then I got to the point where I was only doing like the upper body and the arms, and then doing the legs, and then doing the core, and then doing cardio. So every day I was doing something different, and then I would change it up each week so that my body didn't used to the idea that Wednesday is the day we do the lifting and the rowing. No, this week it's on Thursday, not Wednesday. So I would trick my body and change the routine, and they call that cross training, of course. Where you do that and it tricks your body into not having a routine, and you have to set your own.
The routine is actually bad. Whenever you get into too much of a routine, you'll start wearing things off the wrong way.
And your body goes on autopilot, so it doesn't build up muscle the way it's supposed to. You have to trick it.
Also, if it's routine, it won't build up as much. Just saying on topic, solutions and guidance. So I'm trying to figure out what topic we got off of. So it was the last comment that Ginger made.
Right. Ginger's on topic, on topic, folks. Solutions and guidance, because we went on to talking about like working out and
the football. And, you're right. We got off,
we started to ramble on. Like, wait a minute, no, solutions and guidance, please. Right.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Right. Thank you. There's our producer. Not really our producer, but Ginger for being the producer and putting us back on track here. That's funny right there.
Thank you very much. Keeping us focused.
Got it.
Because we usually go on all kinds of different. That's what we do. That's one of the reasons why we clicked, because we can actually talk about so many different things in a good and constructive way.
Right. So Tony's throwing out meditation. Tony says, "Let's go down meditation."
I don't really do meditation. I'm a meditation
guru, right? I'm all about that, and I love to do that because I can do the 30-second. How many of you guys out there, raise your hands? How many know about my 30-second meditation? Those of you who do, give me a shout out in the chat. Those of you who don't, if you want, we can do that, and I can show you something yeah, right. She says, I'm always this way. Allison is repeating because she was talking to what's her name in the chat. They were talking to Denise because she's like, Denise, stop flirting. And she's like, I'm not flirting. This is just the way I am. And Allison is repeating, yeah, and this is the way I always am, right? So they're having a little conversation between the two of them, right? So let's do this, right? So really quickly, let's do this 30-second thing.
The whole reason why I don't meditate, because it's always that half an hour.
This is what I'm going to show you right now, Miguel. I'm going to show you something.
Your chakras, and I'm like, I ain't got.
You don't need to do any of that. You don't need to do any of that. None of that. Let me show you.
So,
you can, and so here, you do this as well as everybody else. So here's what we're going to do, everybody. Everybody in the audience.
Sitting down, do I have to stand up?
No, you do. I want you sitting down because you're going to have your eyes closed. So you want to be in a comfortable position. So what we're going to do, everybody, so everybody that's out there that's listening that is still here with us, this is a 30-second thing that you can do, and it'll show you that you don't need, like Miguel said, with the whole mo and the ding and the whole, okay? So get into where you're comfortable somewhere. Make sure that you don't have your phone on or whatever, or you can ignore that. Television, mute it, whatever, so that you're quiet, right? I want it to be quiet. What I want you guys all to do is sit someplace comfortably sitting, because if you're standing, you're going to be closing your eyes for 30 seconds, so I don't need you falling over. So sit down somewhere comfortable, whichever way you are comfortable. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you close your eyes. And when I tell you to do that, we'll start. And then I'll shut the fuck up so you guys don't hear me, because I want to be also quiet. So what I want you to do is, in that time period, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to focus on your breathing. Inhale through your nose and exhale out through your mouth. And I want you to only concentrate on that and how that feels going into your body and exhaling your body. And I want you to do that. And I'll count down for 30 seconds and then I'll stop you. And then I'm going to ask you a question at the end of it. And then you guys will understand what I'm talking about. So go ahead and everybody close your eyes and just focus on your breath and nothing else. And I'll be quiet. So starting now. Okay, now ask yourself this question. What were you thinking about just now while you were doing that? And the answer should nothing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was thinking about my breathing.
Thinking about your breathing. That's right. So do you understand what just happened right there? You just achieved what people who are meditating are attempting to achieve. You just literally left your pain body, left your mind and your ego behind, and you were only concentrating on the breath of life going in and out of your body, and you weren't thinking any thoughts. There was no daydreams. There was no distractions, because you, at that moment, were here outside of this body, experiencing the body only. That was a short 30-second meditation that proves that you don't have to do all that shit. You sit in a certain lotus position with your fingers and have the music ding and the right smells, and you go, oh.
For a second, I didn't feel my back.
You didn't see your pain body. You left your pain body. It wasn't there, and you didn't feel the pain. And that's because you were outside of the pain body, and now you were experiencing, witnessing your pain body and no thoughts. Do you see? That's a 30-second. You can do that anywhere you're at if you have 30 seconds. And that is the same thing that people try to achieve in meditating. So if you go to meditate from using that idea and forgetting about all this stuff that they teach you have to do, this Eastern Orthodox philosophical way of meditating, is you don't have to do that. If you want to and it works for you, just like any other religion, just like any other ideology, if it works for you, do it. But if it doesn't, and you don't want to sit there doing that whole rigmarole to do all that stuff, you don't need to. All you have to do is keep it simple, stupid. The KISS method, KISS, keep it simple, stupid, is the most important always. instead of doing this ritualistic, like we were talking about with, well, we don't have to worry about, we can only do that show once a year. Remember, we were talking about that earlier, and we can't do it. That's it. We can't do it for another whole year because we missed it. You don't need that, right? It's simple. That's why I said we're going to get that webinar done when we're supposed to, because it's just a matter of the right time, and it'll happen, right? And I know that. That's why I'm thinking January is probably going to be when we do that, right?
Well,
so guys,
okay, so
out there,
all right, we can do that.
Go ahead, bud.
No, January sounds good.
Yeah. So for those of you who are out there in the crowd, I hope you guys just did that 30-second thing, and I hope that when you did that, you also came up with, if you did it right, you came up with nothing. You weren't thinking about anything because you were outside of your body. You were in your higher self, not your higher self, but you were in your higher self. You also came up with. I was hearing myself echoed for a second there.
Yeah, I clicked the wrong thing. Sorry.
It's okay. Hey, at least you didn't disappear like I did 2 or 3 times during the live broadcast.
No, it's there was a comment made, and I was trying to find out where it was.
Ginger said, try an inversion bed. Have you tried that yet? For your back?
Oh, an inversion. Oh, like sleeping like a vampire.
No, they have those things where you. No, they have those things where you get into, and they attach to your ankles, and then
and then you flip over, so you
down.
So you're decompressing your spine. I don't have one of those. I always dreamt of having one of those when I was in Dallas. But yeah, that would be an idea.
Yeah, Tony said, bing, he got it. So Tony said that exactly. So he got it, bing. So that's something you guys can do in 30 seconds. That's all you need. But you can't count down in your head because then you're thinking, right? So you just got to do it for a short period of time, however long you feel. Just do that, or set a little alarm and then go, okay, 30 seconds, and then my alarm will go off, and then sit there and do it so you don't have to count and you know that it's going to happen, and then okay, I can start thinking again. The problem that we have, and this is part of what Miguel and I and the rest of us are going to tell you with, is your reality in your way. The problem is that we have the pain body who, like Miguel said earlier, just like the mind, it doesn't have the ability to discern the difference between now and then. So when the pain body stores pain, it gives it back to you exactly the way it was supposed to, the way it recorded it. When your thinking mind is giving you an emotion that's attached to something that happened to you 50 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, it's recorded that as now. So it's giving you what happened to you as now. Not this is the pain you felt 20 years ago. It's 20 years ago, this is what you felt. And that's why it's hard for people to go and regress to deal with their own stuff. It's hard to do that because you have to then look at things knowing that the pain that you felt in that moment that you weren't ready to deal with, that you passed off to the pain body or to the mind, is going to come back to you exactly being reported the way it was. So you're going to experience it now the same way you did then. No difference. But when you do experience that, and this is what Dianetics did, and
because
this is why
all times exist at the same time.
Yes, because everything is now. So we perceive time as now, future, now, and past. Our bodies, the universe, works with no timeline. Everything is now. So whatever you give over to the body to hold on to for 20 years, 30 years, when it gives it back, it's now. There's no difference. There's no timeline for the body. It's not then. It's now.
So
that's why they say now is the important time. Everything is now. If you realize that being in the now is more important than anything else, it makes it easier for you to deal with things that happened to you before. Did you see? Yeah. And that's hard. That's why we call it.
That also gets back to a comment that was made about an hour and a half ago, because we're going on 3 hours now. To where they were.
We are at 3 hours.
Yeah, at 3:02. Yeah, and it harkens back. God, now I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
Shit. No, I was thinking about something and it just poof. All right. There was something that Tony had mentioned earlier, and it's too far up in the chat for me to actually look at it again. But there was something that he had mentioned that I wanted to touch on again. But yeah, that's way before that.
There's a link.
Places doesn't care.
This might be good. There's a link for you, Miguel, from Tony. There's a link he put in the chat for you.
All right. Let me pull up that window because I've got the Facebook in there as well.
Yeah, it's in the Facebook. He put up a link for you that said this might be good for you, and it says it's a UK address. Gravity inversion table therapy.
Oh,
so, okay. Yeah. So he put a link up for you to take a look at to see if that helps you in any way. So I guess it's something that might be cheaper that you could get that would help you as a gravity inversion thing that's not really expensive. I don't know. I'm just guessing by the title of it.
The gravity invert. What the basic idea of it is this: that when gravity is affecting our body the entire time. So whenever we have that tendency to walk all the time, and as we get older, we get shorter because everything compresses because we're always in the same direction. So what the inversion is that you're being secured by your ankles, and now gravity is pulling you and trying to expand or decompress all those things in your bones and knees and everything else. So it might work whenever people have compressed spines and everything else. Mine are herniated.
Which is
the day that it happened, we were trying out new players, and so I'm like, all right, I'm not going to go practice. And Dennis, who I helped, and Junior mentioned that, I helped spread American football throughout Brazil. We were a benchmark for the country for 10 years. People wanted to play us to find out how badly they would lose or if they actually knew how to play the game. So we helped other teams expand and grow and everything else. So I've had an impact on the sport in this country. So that's what Junior had mentioned as far as that.
I like that.
Dennis had told me that, man, the guy that we've got here isn't able to tackle everybody, and we're embarrassing because these rookies are able to get through. And can you come by and tackle some guys for us? All right, there were 35 guys trying out, and they went through 3-4 different cycles. So I did 125 tackles that day in about less than an hour and a half.
Gotta love that.
No pads. And so that's what really wore down the neck, because I don't like grab or grab legs. I hit you right in the fucking gut, shoulder, and head. So it's just boom. Why? Because I'm going to bend your fucking body over, grab your knees, and drill your ass into the ground, because that's
right. In spirit, right? So listen, this is what Ginger said. I love this. She says, why love? Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things. What is that? Hope for. The evidence of things not seen. Declaration / creation. Melding of science and spirit. I see that's very apropos for today.
That's what our channel's all about. That's what you and I are always talking about.
Yep.
That's
so
exactly
it's very apropos for now, because that's exactly what we are trying to tell people now is to find that balance, right? The melding of science and spirit, because the scientists aren't. And because they're not, they'll never discover anything that has to do with anything.
Scientists are trying to eliminate God, and that's something that you can't do. Now, what happens is there was this old, and one of the things that sort of influenced my book or inspired me to actually write the book. There's this old Asian proverb, might be a Chinese proverb, I don't know what the fuck, to where it said, at the end of science you will find religion, at the end of religion you will find science, because they're two different perspectives of the same reality. And then we study philosophy, Greek philosophy and that sort of thing, between Aristotle and Plato. And Plato was more of our energy, the world is what we perceive it to be, and Aristotle was more like no, things are material, we have base elements and we build on them, and that is the world that we, and that's basically the science that we have today. No, none of that woo garbage. It's only this material stuff that I can feel and I know it's real. Sorry, buddy. We just studied a lot of fucking science and told us that what you feel isn't fucking real.
Right.
Because it's not solid, it's an interference pattern.
Yep. Right. But they didn't know that then. So now we actually know that. So because we actually know that,
they don't want to
look at that. No, they don't want to admit it.
They don't want to admit it because
and that goes back to the denial of, or the despising of the lamb, right? If you deny the lamb, you will never find the door.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. So being a scientist, I'm going to deny God because I don't think there is a God and there shouldn't be. And everything's tangible. Like you said, tangible. And because of that, you're ignoring the actual key to the door.
Yeah,
so you'll never find the
exactly.
door.
Because that is the main key to everything. Oh, I just clicked on the link. This thing's weird. Oh yeah, because I was always wondering how you flip that motherfucker over. And yeah, this thing is you just lie down on it and you flip the switch and can go around. So there is a way for you.
You said it was 99 pounds. So that's sterling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, British pound sterling. So depending on where you're at, it's going to be more than that. There'd be more than that for me because I'm on the dollar, which is about 80 cents.
And in Brazil, between the shipping and the taxes and the duties and everything else, it'll just be fucking absurd.
But there might be a version of that in Brazil.
Actually, I used to work for a company that made exercise equipment. I was the new product developer for them. They were developing a line. They wanted an alternative gym. There's I don't know if anybody knows Mormai. They copied sort of Ocean Pacific. The guy was a doctor, but he was a surfer, and so he developed his own wetsuits. And so that's how he started, because other people saw he stowed his own rubber into a wetsuit. He bought an OP and said, "Oh, that's a great idea," and he made him himself, and that's how he started a long fucking time ago. And one of the things that he wanted, he didn't like the gyms that had all the steel and the bars and it made him feel icky. So he wanted a gym that didn't have any of that stuff, but still worked out the body. So they had some ideas on products, and I went looking for other products as well. And they just had an idea of a product. I had to know who the manufacturer was, get the rights to it, and also manufacturing rights here in Brazil. So it was a fun little 6 months that I spent doing that. But yeah, they'd be able to do that piece of equipment relatively easily. There's also one here in Joinville called Athletic. Yeah, I could probably send that design over to them. That would be interesting. They might have it. All right, cool. So thank you, Tony, for that suggestion. That was great.
So yeah, so getting back to the whole ideology of, like we said last time, like you said, I want to go back to what you were saying earlier, so people understand. We talked about last week, everything is okay. And the reason for that is, I want to reiterate what Miguel said earlier. You guys, and the reason I do this, you'll see why, because he kind of played it and went through, but didn't kind of throw the weight on it that I think should be, and he was being humble about it. But I wanted to go back and point this out. You guys need to understand that we are in the waning days of the Third World War. We're already winning. It's already over. They just haven't gotten the notice yet, or they haven't accepted it. Okay, yeah. So all the craziness. So there is going to be more darkness. There is going to be more, because we're going to have to pound them into submission because they're not willing to go, okay, we give up. So you know what I mean? And they're not going to. They're doubling down and tripling down and trying to force their issue now. And so they're going after people that are in countries that are vulnerable and going, you're getting locked down and you're getting the jibber jabber. And that's it. You're getting jabberwockied to death. And you have no choice. And that's because people over here, for instance, on Black Friday, we talked about this, on Black Friday, over here in America, they call it Black Friday because that's the day that all the retail companies go into the green. So they start making money. So it's called Black Friday because they're in the red before that, and they start making money. And from this until the end of the year, they make all their money. Everything else in the years is trickle, trickle, trickle. So this year on Black Friday, they sold more guns than any other day, single day in American history. There was 50,000 background checks performed, and that's just in the states that make you do a background check. Like in Arizona, Texas, Florida, you don't do background checks. So they say the firearm sales were over 2 million firearm sales in one day in America. And that was because defund the police, Black Lives Matter and Antifa burning the places down everywhere, and the cops aren't going to be around. So Americans are going, I have to defend myself. And then with all the prices of everything going up, people have said, look, we need to start buying guns. So the more these people are pushing to lock people down around the world, the more Americans are getting ready, because we're not going to have that happen. We would rather not have a civil war, but in a sense, we're having a cultural civil war worldwide.
We're actually in the middle of a Marxist revolution.
Yes, agreed. Worldwide, by the way, yes. So, but you guys need to understand, that most of us understand it. We know it. We get it. That's what we're fighting against. You guys don't know that until you learn it. And then you go, what the hell's going on? What is this craziness? And then we go, well, like Miguel just said, this is a Marxist revolution. It's a coup d'etat that's been taking control of the entire planet. And there's some of us standing in their way, and it's pissing them off. Right. And they're losing, and that's pissing them off.
That's what T-Man always said. They're not after me. They're after you. I'm just in the way.
I'm just in the way. Absolutely. 100%. All right. So with that, now that we're 3 hours
after us.
They are after us. They're after you, me, and everybody else. They're after the whole world. They're after taking control of you, taking control of your mind, and getting it into control of the AI God. And that way they can then downsize the planet. That's why I haven't seen the movie yet, but the Matrix rebooted is coming out, or was it Resurrections? And I don't know exactly what they're doing with that. But if you look at the whole that whole genre is people just like everything else, just like the Star Wars and the Star Trek novels, just like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Matrix trilogy, Dune trilogy. All those books were written by geniuses. Yep. Who were giving you the background, the story of what's really happened in the universe and what's going on. It's all there. It's right there in front of everything that we have. It's there for you to see and read. Read the Gnostic Gospels. Read the Gospels in the Bible. Read the Old Testament, the New Testament. Read the Quran. Read these tomes, these dusty tomes from around the world, because they're telling you what happened last time and warning about what's going to happen this time. And that's what's happening now. That's what's happening now, right? All right, guys. With that, I think
there's lots of shit happening now, but
right,
that's a whole nother story.
Right. Well, we'll pick back up next week and we talk about it then.
Absolutely, yeah. 3 hours and 15. We're
3 hours and 15 minutes. I got to go feed mom.
All right. Yeah, your mom. Plus, it's midnight my time, so I need to go.
You got to go relax. I got to go feed mom.
I'm exhausted. My back fucking hurts, and so thank you very much tonight, Leo. This was
thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Thank Aaron. Aaron was here for the time he could, but he's going to be with us.
Our pirate brother. Our pirate brother.
That's right. Right. So, guys, just know that we'll be changing the logo as soon as Aaron makes one. And the Wednesday show is going to be Pirate Radio or Pirate Broadcast, Pirate Podcast. And we're going to be operating from Skull Island. And we're going to be talking to you guys directly to the world and talking about shit that might piss you off or might trigger you. Or maybe not. Maybe we'll talk about cars.
If you're triggered, you got a serious problem, and it's worse than us.
Yeah, exactly. If you get triggered by stuff we say, you should, because the stuff we say is truth. So if you get triggered by the truth, because I am not a Republican, I am not a Democrat, I am zero party affiliation. That is what I'm like Aaron said, I'm more of an anarchist than anything else. I'm about everybody take care of themselves. We don't need any centralized government. And that's why I like the Ubuntu ideology. But the problem is we still haven't figured out how to do it on a mass scale for a country.
The only way that Ubuntu works is if people are actually elevated.
Yeah.
Okay. All that stuff works if their mentality and their spirit is in the right place. If anyone wants to take advantage of it, the whole damn thing will fall apart.
If you have somebody that's evil, it breaks down because those people try to leverage themselves into power positions and try to hoard.
Exactly.
They want control. If you keep those people out of control and keep the people in control that are in service to others, it works and it doesn't break down.
Perfect. All right. And on that, thank you very much, Leo. I appreciate it. And everyone in the chat, everyone who participated on Facebook, on YouTube, thank y'all very much. See y'all next week.
Right. And I'll be on Friday to do my
I'll try. I didn't catch you last Friday, but I'll see if I can catch up with you again. Like
you can always catch it after the fact. But if you come on, then if you come on and go live, be there.
No, it's you got me on Wednesdays. I'm not gonna. You got me on Wednesdays. I'm not going to take up too much of your time.
Right, there you go. So we'll do Wednesday. But if I see you in the chat on Friday, then I do. If not, So, guys, and those of you who paid when I was on the conference on Saturday, I didn't get to go live because my same problem with my internet that I'm having today. I should have went and got it on my phone, but I couldn't get it to work on my phone. So I recorded it, and it is posted live. It was posted live that night, my time, before 10 p.m. that night. It was on there. So if you've paid to go see that, you have access to that still. You can go back and watch my segment that I recorded and put on there. And a lot of the people that I know that paid for it, I've told personally, and they were all like, great, thank you. I even watched myself, and I never watched myself. I even watched it. I was like, wow, okay. I did okay. I don't know. I don't. Very rarely people go, do you go back? No, I don't. I don't go back and watch my shit. I was there when I did it.
Like I do. I try and go back, but it's frustrating seeing something that already happened. You know, it's like.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what you go back and you watch it and you're like, I know I was there. I know what I'm going to say next. This is kind of boring.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
But
guys, I love you all. I love you guys. I love Miguel. I love Aaron. I'm glad that they're coming on to do this show on Wednesday. And hopefully next Wednesday we'll have logos and the whole nines for you guys. Aaron said he'll work them up today or tomorrow. So we'll have them for next week. And we'll get all that hammered out. And for those of you who are out there, like Peter and the other guys who are out there who are going to end up being speakers going forward when we do webinars, just know we're still working on it. Miguel and I are working on it. And Peter from South Africa is working on his end. And we're getting people together to set up dates going forward to try and do like we were doing once a month and do shows. And he's got ideas, and Miguel's got ideas, and Aaron's got ideas, and Peter Coyle got ideas.
Just about Peter, this star on my hat, it's because I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. This represents because Peter's in Ireland, so he didn't know, and he's called Peter Star. It's kind of his thing. But the star is the Lone Star State, Texas. Dallas Cowboys football team. That's where I got.
And that's literally the star is the flag of Texas. It's literally the single star. And so it's actually the symbol of Texas itself. Not to mention the Cowboys. Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
Because they are the Lone Star State. Yeah. Cool. All right. So Jacob, welcome, my friend. See, we also got to integrate Jacob somewhere in here. So Jacob, we'll be finding a spot and talking to you about what's going on.
Absolutely.
He said he would help us in case something went down. He could be there to take control. And so, Jacob, we're going to be having you behind the scenes, if not co-hosting, just so you know.
Right.
We kind of volunteered you, buddy.
No, I love spending time with Jake. He's with Jacob. He's good folks, definitely.
Yep. All right, guys. Thank you all for being here. I love you guys, and I'll see you. See, Julie said I grew up a Cowboys fan. Right?
Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys, right? I don't have it on. I had it on earlier. I'm a 49er fan. I used to be a Raider fan until they left me for the second time. I went to Vegas for some other broad.
The Raiders I can handle, but the Candlestick Fairies, I got a problem with them. The only time I liked them
I actually saw a football game in Candlestick Park, the original Candlestick Park. Very first professional game I ever went to was a San Francisco 49er game. And it was actually the year that Joe Montana was a rookie, and he and Steve, what was the guy's name that was there before him? Steve DeBerg. Him and Steve DeBerg were fighting over the spot, and it was the last game of the season, and we had 50-yard line tickets because nobody was going to the games, and it was raining, and the very last play, Joe Montana tried to throw a Hail Mary. They're playing against the Buffalo Bills. He threw a Hail Mary into the end zone. If they would have caught it, the Niners would have won the game, but they didn't. It was an interception, and that was the last pass he threw for that season. But he got the job the next year, and 2 years later, they were in the Super Bowl.
No, Joe Montana was awesome. He was unique. But after that, I mean, basically, I never really enjoyed that team. However, Jacob is calling the Cowgirls. So personally, Jake,
taking shots, my friend. Okay. All right, guys, we love you. Have a great night. I'll see you, those of you who are going to see me on Friday. Otherwise, it won't be till next week when we'll be back here on Skull Island, broadcasting to you guys on the Pirate Network here, the Pirate Podcast, and having a good time.
All righty. Thanks, everybody.